This page is the cover of the magazine, featuring 3 anime-style characters. The headlines highlight major upcoming and recent releases for the SEGA Saturn. It is a big scoop leading up to the launch of Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel, and even The Lost One. The magazine also announces the release date for Super Robot Wars F Final Chapter. A special feature delves into the next-generation arcade generation, exploring the latest arcade titles that could potentially impact future hardware. The cover boasts a comprehensive guide to SEGA Saturn software, listing titles like Panzer Dragoon Saga, known as Dazzle in Japan, Shining Force 2i Scenario 1, and fighting games like Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. Other listed games include Suikoden, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, Akumaju Dracula X, Burning Rangers, The House of the Dead, and Puyo Puyo Dungeon. There's also an exciting announcement about Treasure's new arcade game, Radiant Silvergun. This issue covers a diverse range of genres and major releases during a pivotal time for the console. This page is a striking promotional image for a SEGA Saturn game. The large white text reads, Ria Rusa, with a subtitle below it in purple, Sound of the Mist, and the year 1998 displayed prominently. While the title shown is slightly different, this is undoubtedly promoting the SEGA Saturn sound novel game, Real Sound, Kaze no Regret, which was released in 1998. Sound novels are unique, immersive experiences relying heavily on audio and narrative. A bold red warning at the bottom declares, Warning! This is a really scary game, suggesting the game features intense suspense or horror elements. The page is simple yet impactful, clearly focusing on the game's title, release year, and its promise of a frightening experience, highlighted by the official SEGA Saturn logo at the bottom. This page is a promotional image for Real Sound 2, Lugol E, the follow-up to the unique sound novel game series by Warp Inc. The page prominently displays the title 2, Real Sound 2, with the subtitle Lugol E, and announces a 6 June release. Developed by Warp Inc., creators of the previous Real Sound title, this sequel promises another immersive, audio-focused narrative experience. The design features the title overlaid on musical staff lines, emphasizing the game's core concept, and includes the developer's logo and contact information. This page is the table of contents for the SEGA Saturn magazine, issue volume 6, dated February 27, March 6, 1998. The page features a large illustration of a woman with long brown hair, wearing a black dress and holding a pistol, likely representing the character from the game Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel. The main content highlights include a major feature on upcoming arcade games, focusing on titles exhibited at the AOU show held on February 19th, under the title Next Generation Arcade Generation, starting on page 116. Another significant section, starting on page 16, is a special report packed with the latest information on hot topic titles. This section covers a variety of games including Super Robot Wars Final Chapter, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel Eve the Lost One, Dukoku Soshite, Burning Rangers The House of the Dead, Roommate 3 Ryoko, On a Shining Morning Breeze Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon, Baroque, Dungeon Master Nexus, Senkutsu Katsuryu Taizen, Chaos Seed, Legend of Heroes 2, Kamisarishi Daichi ni, Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team, the sequel to Myst, and Welcome to Piacere. Finally, page 84 features a special project, a long interview directly with the development staff of Grandia, specifically focusing on the game's music director, Noriyuki Iwadare. This page serves as the magazine's comprehensive game index and table of contents. Featured sections include the SEGA Saturn Press area, highlighting new and upcoming releases like Psychic Force, Winning Post 3, Genso Suikoden, and the arcade fighting game Fallen Angels in the Arcade Express section. There's also a focus on strategy guides for titles such as Panzer Dragoon Saga and Shining Force 2i Scenario 1, plus the latest news on Treasure's shooter, Radiant Silvergun. The left column lists various regular magazine features like news, data sections, reader submissions, reviews, and release schedules. The large Game Index on the right provides an alphabetical list of games covered in the issue, along with their corresponding page numbers. The bottom of the page features an illustration, noted as the cover art. This page covers exciting news and events centered around SEGA Saturn's popular titles, including Burning Rangers and Sakura Wars. It highlights an event for the upcoming action game Burning Rangers held at Tokyo Joyopolis, featuring a live performance of the theme song by the composer. Attendees could also participate in a character popularity poll and a lottery for prizes. The game's soundtrack and theme song single were also scheduled for release. The page includes key art from the game, showcasing the male and female protagonists. The focus then shifts to the thriving Sakura Wars series. News about the official fan club, the Taisho Roman Club, reveals its rapid growth and member benefits, including exclusive goods and information. It's noted that members would receive a demo of the highly anticipated Sakura Wars 2 with a future issue of the magazine. The page features charming artwork of Sakura Shinguji and related merchandise like a telephone card. Adding to the excitement, a musical adaptation of Sakura Wars is announced, titled Musical Sakura Taisen Flower Blooming Maidens. The production features a renowned cast member and promises unique commemorative tickets designed by the series creator. Details for attending performances in Tokyo and Osaka are also provided. This page covers various events and software releases for SEGA Saturn fans. Starting off, an event called Reds Festa 98 was held for the Urawa Red Diamonds Soccer Club, where fans could challenge players in the game. Let's make a soccer team, too. The event fostered excitement with players competing against fans. Next up is news on the Whirland project, a media mix expansion for the popular Eberouge series. This project involves several companies, including Takara, who will release Eberouge Special on the Saturn in July. Plans also include a radio drama and other software releases, following the successful media mix approach seen with titles like Sakura Wars. Also highlighted is the release of Hukakago Fan Club PC software. This Windows title serves as an accessory collection, notably including a photo CD. Collector's items like trading cards are bundled, and clearing the related Saturn game unlocks a special message. For fans of Senshi, a school song collection CD has been released, featuring songs performed by the voice cast. Finally, NTT is showcasing its new UNTDC telephone service, an advanced system allowing users to receive information via phone, fax, and email. Initially developed to enhance game interactivity, this service appears to be broadening its scope. An interview discusses aims for widespread adoption through various content deliveries, targeting future telecommunication services. Tickets for Tokyo Game Show 98 Spring were available at numerous locations listed at the bottom of the page. This page covers various happenings in the world of SEGA Saturn and related media. First up, the Wonder Festival 98 Winter is highlighted as a symbol of the figure boom, showcasing a massive gathering of figures and toys by both professional and amateur creators. The event held in Tokyo was a great success, with kits selling out quickly, demonstrating the strong enthusiasm. Next, there's a look at the Victor JXS5, a convenient TV game selector that allows one-touch switching between up to 3 game consoles without cumbersome reconnections. It's described as a must-have item for game lovers. Praised for its ease of use and design, the page also features a present campaign celebrating the release of the game Tenant Wars, offering luxurious goods to 64 winners. A screenshot of the quirky-looking game is shown alongside details on how to enter. Additionally, news on the OVA adaptation of Kagyose confirms the release of the 3rd volume, with the final 4th volume coming in both general and 15 restricted versions. An event related to the OVA is also mentioned, featuring cast and staff. Finally, the bottom section reviews several new music releases, covering a mix of singles and albums from various artists. Notably, there's a soundtrack release featuring music from classic arcade titles Glock, R360, and Virtual Racing. This page reviews SEGA Saturn strategy guides, highlighting bestsellers and notable publications. The top-selling guide in late January was the Complete Data Edition for J.League Pro Soccer Club O Tsukuru 2, praised for its management strategies, interviews, and extensive data. Other popular titles included guides for Sentimental Graffiti, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, and a second J-League Pro Soccer Club O Tsukuru 2 guide. Additional reviews cover guides for Sentimental Graffiti, focused on heroines, Princess Crown, Game Basics, Solo Crisis, Combat Tactics, Farland Saga, Character and Stage Strategies, Saku Satoshi Sonic Council, Fighting Game Techniques, and Dazemon 2, Beginner-Friendly Game Creation. Prices are listed before tax. This page presents the weekly SEGA Saturn software sales ranking, showing the top 15 best-selling games. It highlights the latest trends and which titles are moving units. Topping the chart this week is the new release Sentimental Graffiti, already breaking the 200,000 copies sold mark, confirming its massive popularity. Coming in at number 2 is The Machi, a sound novel that has also seen strong sales. Third place goes to another new title, Panzer Dragoon Saga, the highly anticipated RPG entry in the acclaimed series, connecting the story to the previous 2 games. Further down the list, J. League Pro Soccer Club O Tsukuru 2 holds strong at number 4, showing continued interest in the management sim. A guide for this was reviewed last week. Grandia remains a solid seller at number 5. Other notable titles in the top 15 include new releases like Gunblaze S, Legend of Heavenly Sphere Shirato, Chaos Seed, an SLG based on a popular anime, and Saku Satoshi Sonic Council, a fighting game, alongside returning favorites like Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, and A Girl Who Chants Love at the Edge of the World. The chart reflects a busy period for the Saturn, with several highly anticipated new releases shaking up the rankings and proving that there's still plenty of great software available for the system. This page delves into what Sega Saturn owners are hoping to see on the system, presenting a want to convert ranking based on user data. Topping the list of desired ports are major hits like the Final Fantasy series and the King of Fighters series, showing a strong desire for popular RPGs and fighting games from other platforms. Other notable requests include D no Shokutaku, the Mansion of Hidden Souls, and Dragon Quest series, highlighting diverse tastes. The page also highlights Ehrgeiz and Tekken 3 as highly desired, featuring screenshots, but notes the uncertainty of these PlayStation titles making their way to the Saturn. Flipping the focus to the arcade scene, the page presents a Shop Data Top 15 ranking of popular arcade video games. Unsurprisingly, Virtua Fighter 3 TB holds the top spot, a dominant force in arcades. Tekken 3 also ranks high, alongside other fighting games like Virtua Striker 2 and the King of Fighters. The page singles out Sega Rally 2 as a coming soon highlight, promising new vehicles and details on its development on the powerful Model 3 board. Additionally, it briefly showcases new arcade releases like the updated competitive puzzle game Taisen Taunt R++ and the fighting game Dead or Alive++, noting the latter's arcade version is based on the Saturn release. The Sega Saturn User Data Top 30 showcases anticipated games based on reader feedback. Sakura Wars 2, Thou Shalt Not Die tops the list with 488 points, featuring strategic battles and character interactions, with a limited edition planned. Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel holds second with 412 points, highlighting its romantic comedy elements and visuals. Super Robot Wars Final Chapter secures third place with 317 points, set for an April 23 release. The ranking also spotlights other titles. Gungrafon 2 and The House of the Dead are highlighted as pick-up check games. Additionally, Vampire Savior, Darkstalkers 3, and Kaiketsu, The Laughing Salesman, are previewed in the Coming Soon section. The page includes a full ranking of 30 games, with publisher and release information. This page features the Sega Saturn Reader Race, Volume 87, a weekly reader-driven ranking of all currently released Saturn software based on average scores given by readers on a 10-point scale. The ranking shows over 200 games, with Gran Turismo 97 topping the list with a score of 9.631. The ranking is dynamic, changing as new votes come in. Highlights from the top ranks include A Girl Who Chants Love at the Edge of the World at number 2, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers at 3, and X-Men vs. Street Fighter at 4. New entries this week are marked in red, with Shin Machi debuting at number 7. Other high-ranking games feature well-known titles like Thunder Force V, Dead or Alive, Culdicept, Lunar, Silver Star Story MPEG Edition, and Sakura Wars. Commentary on the page notes that Shin Machi and Sentimental Graffiti, which were highlighted previously as anticipated titles, had a quiet start to their ranking journey this week. The performance of these games will depend on player feedback as they are cleared. The page includes small images, likely from Sentimental Graffiti and Shin Machi. Overall, this week's report focuses on the early performance of new releases and the stability of the top-ranked games based on the collective opinion of Saturn players. This page continues the Sega Saturn Reader Race Volume 87, presenting the lower portion of the reader-voted game rankings based on average scores. Highlighted this week are a few key titles. The first is the sound novel The City, Machi, which debuted recently. Readers gave it a high average score of 9.4807. The commentary notes the game provides a unique sound novel experience, where players feel like they are making the story, rather than just reading it. The quality of the visuals and text is praised, as is the engaging perspective of playing as a character within the city. Next up is the sports title NHL 97, ranked at 41st with an average score of 9.1. Reviewers commented on the game's fast pace but also its difficulty. Some felt it lacked specific ice hockey production elements, and found the controls occasionally difficult, though the player models were well done. Finally, After School Love Club. Etude of Love is highlighted at rank 235, with a score of 8.1633. This dating simulation game is noted for its focus on relationships beyond just the main couple, requiring interaction with many characters. Some reviewers felt the playtime was short and wished for full voice acting, while others mentioned concerns about load times and graphics. A small note at the bottom teases an upcoming release or magazine CD content related to Sonic Team. This SEGA Saturn Reader Race Volume 87 page presents reader-voted game rankings, starting from 315 downwards. Sentimental Graffiti, a dating sim focused on relationships, debuts at 240 with an 8.1536 average. Readers praised its unique approach, emotional depth, and voice acting, but noted issues with localized humor, production quality, and potential gameplay difficulty. Vandal Hearts, a simulation RPG, ranks at 347 with a 7.5833 average, lauded for its fantasy setting and Saturn-specific additions, despite some graphical criticisms. Kindaichi Case Files, Demon Island Murder Case ranks at 313, 7.7692, praised for its mystery-solving aspects and atmosphere, though some found its systems lacking depth. The article also briefly compares Sentimental Graffiti to other titles, and mentions Steep Slopes ranking. This page continues the reader-voted game rankings for the SEGA Saturn, presenting titles from around rank 396 downwards. It lists various games with their genre and average score, based on reader votes. More interestingly, the page features a section discussing an upcoming merger between SEGA Saturn Magazine and another publication. It also mentions a significant change in SEGA's leadership and hints at future developments for the company. A specific character, referred to as the Yellow Brick Road, is highlighted as becoming an essential experience for Saturn owners, possibly related to a new release. Screenshots accompanying this section show gameplay from what appears to be Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, featuring both a first-person dungeon-crawling perspective and the distinctive Yellow Brick Road demon character. The text prompts readers to check out this game. This page previews 3 notable upcoming SEGA Saturn titles. First up is Panzer Dragoon Saga, an RPG in the beloved Panzer Dragoon universe, praised for its exceptional opening, unique world, and involving dragon interaction, though some felt minor details were rough. Next is Chaos Seed, a strategy simulation game that starts confusing but becomes highly addictive, offering deep gameplay with ample help for beginners despite complex rules. Finally, Solo Crisis, another strategy title, is noted for its plain visuals but absorbing gameplay loop and interesting elements like magic stories, although balance issues with army strength and map design were observed. The magazine notes a wave of high-quality software hitting the Saturn, with Panzer Dragoon Saga particularly highlighted as a must-watch. There's also a section featuring reader feedback, including anticipation for SEGA's future releases, and comments on other games like Super Robot Wars F. The page includes rankings of SEGA Saturn peripherals based on reader votes. It also details how readers can participate in the reader race by rating games and submitting feedback. 2 prediction games are highlighted, one asking readers to guess the debut ranking of Winter Heat, and another for the average score of SD Gundam G-Century S. Participating in these activities enters readers into a prize draw for various SEGA Saturn accessory sets and a game of their choice. This page delivers emergency breaking news about the highly anticipated Super Robot Wars final chapter for the SEGA Saturn. This simulation RPG, published by Banpresto, is scheduled for release on April 23 for 6,800 yen, recommended for all ages and supporting 1 player. The report includes the exciting news that the release date has finally been decided, and SEGA Saturn Magazine conducted a direct interview with the game's producer, Takanobu Terada. The game is stated to be 85% complete. The page is illustrated with a dynamic assembly of iconic mechs from the Super Robot Wars universe, reflecting the crossover nature of the series. This news directly addresses the reader anticipation mentioned on the previous page. This page delves into the mysteries of the legendary giant Ideon and its unique system in Super Robot Wars. Final chapter, the Ideon Gauge. This gauge represents the manifestation level of ID, a power beyond human control. The article explains that the Ideon Gauge has several stages, showing visual examples of the gauge at Stage 1, Manifestation Beginning, Stage 2, Manifestation Progressed, and Stage 3, Manifestation Complete. Beyond these, there's an ultimate state called Ideon Activation, where the entire Ideon glows, though its full implications are unknown. A key point highlighted is that reaching the second stage of Ideon Manifestation unlocks the use of incredibly powerful weapons like the Ideon Sword and Ideon Gun. This section includes screenshots showing the Ideon status screen and weapon list with these devastating attacks. The page also emphasizes the importance of knowing the original Ideon anime series to truly appreciate the game, especially concerning the unpredictable nature of the ID and the Ideon Gauge. It suggests the original work holds clues to how the Ideon manifestation occurs. A dialogue screenshot featuring Ideon characters further reinforces the direct connection to the source material. This page features a direct interview with Takanobu Terada, the producer of Super Robot Wars' final chapter, celebrating the announcement of the game's release date. He discusses the current development status, stating the game is around 8,590% complete, and in the final debugging phase. Terada mentions that debugging is proving challenging due to the extensive story content. The interview also touches on gameplay balance, including adjustments to how units level up and gain parameters, making progress feel slower and perhaps less overwhelmingly powerful compared to previous Super Robot Wars titles. They also discuss the balancing of unit actions, particularly for units that can act twice in a turn, and the differing strengths of units like those from the Gundam series compared to others. Finally, they explicitly mention that the difficulty in handling the legendary Ideon unit and its unique power system, the Ideon Gauge, has been successfully represented in the game, linking back to the details of the Ideon Gauge shown on the previous page. This page continues the interview with Takanobu Terada about Super Robot Wars' final chapter. He delves further into game balance, noting that enemies are significantly tougher this time around, with some low-level foes being surprisingly difficult. Units like Aura Battlers have high mobility, making them hard to hit, while mechanical beasts have thick armor. He also discusses the unique handling of the Ideon unit, confirming its power is high, but it's a difficult unit to manage effectively. The solo ship can also become a companion ship, usable in certain battles. Terada emphasizes that the volume of content in this final chapter is considerably higher, reflecting the extra development time. He also highlights that knowing the original anime series will enhance the player's enjoyment due to various hidden elements and events, some of which are triggered by not defeating specific enemies. The interview concludes by stating the game's immense content provides a great sense of accomplishment upon completion. The game is set to release on April 23rd. The page features an image of a robot from the game. This page features Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel, an adventure game for the SEGA Saturn. The prominent title and large quotes capture the game's emotional core, centering on Shinji Ikari's internal conflicts and relationship dynamics. The article highlights the introduction of Mana Kirishima, a new transfer student whose presence complicates Shinji's life and his interactions with Asuka Langley Soryu. The narrative explores the tensions arising from Shinji's unexpected popularity, leading to dramatic scenes depicted in the screenshots, such as Asuka's notable outburst where she destroys Shinji's cassette player. The visuals include character art and game screenshots showing Shinji, Asuka, Rei Ayanami, and Mana in various settings, emphasizing the game's focus on character interactions and story progression. Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel is an adventure game set for release on March 19th, priced at 6,800 yen, and comes on 2 discs. This page dives deeper into the unfolding narrative of Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel, focusing on the surprising arrival of Mana Kirishima. Following her unexpected appearance and admission of skipping class, Mana ends up following Shinji Ikari all the way to NERV headquarters. The core conflict arises at the entrance gate, where Mana lacks the required Immodoid card. Rather than being deterred, Mana devises a mischievous plan to enter with Shinji, suggesting they pass through together. This leads to a physically close moment, where Shinji describes feeling her against his back, highlighting the game's focus on character interaction and Shinji's often flustered reactions. The large graphic of Surprise Attack perfectly encapsulates Mana's bold and unexpected actions throughout this sequence, which are depicted in various screenshots showing Mana's arrival, the Nervoid scanner, and Mana and Shinji at the gate. The text details Mana's teasing attitude and Shinji's inability to refuse, ultimately leading to the two entering the base together. This page delves deeper into the events of Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel, as the story with Mana Kirishima unfolds inside NERV headquarters. The first scene depicted shows Shinji Ikari trying to change in the boys' changing room, only to find Mana already there. This leads to an incredibly awkward moment for Shinji, who is flustered and asks Mana to turn away, while she playfully teases him, calling him a pervert as he tries to get dressed. This sequence is highlighted by humorous dialogue and character expressions. The page then shifts focus to a standard simulation experiment involving Shinji, Rei Ayanami, and Asuka Langley Soryu. While Rei and Asuka achieve good results, Shinji's synchronization rate with the EVA remains noticeably low. Asuka, ever the provocateur, suggests he's distracted thinking about that girl, a claim Shinji vehemently denies. Monitors show the low sync rate and a rising mental toxicity level for Shinji. Things get even more unusual inside the simulation plug itself. Asuka challenges a hesitant Shinji to a game of rock paper scissors, upping the ante by betting a new Walkman. As the match begins, Maya Ibuki observes a strange anomaly related to the simulation body, hinting at potential complications beyond the character interactions. The page captures the game's mix of comedic character moments, simulation mechanics, and underlying plot tension. This page continues the narrative of Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel, detailing a simulation experiment gone wrong within NERV headquarters. A sudden, unexpected rise in Shinji Ikari's synchronization rate with the simulated EVA causes the training dummy's arm to move uncontrollably, smashing into the control room. Ritsuko Akagi swiftly orders the alarm stopped and critical data purged, leading to the temporary suspension of the experiment amidst chaos. The incident sparks a heated argument between Ritsuko and Misato Katsuragi regarding the pilot's preparation and Shinji's capabilities. Ritsuko scolds the pilots, emphasizing the gravity of their mission against the Angels, while Misato defends Shinji, arguing he isn't just a machine. The tension is broken by Shinji's apology. However, Gendo Ikari then appears, coolly stating he never ordered them to rest, questioning their performance. Asuka Langley Soryu attributes the accident squarely to Shinji's lovesickness, presumably from Mana Kirishima. Gendo dismisses Shinji with harsh words, telling him to leave if his EVA handling is poor. The experiment remains suspended. Shinji, feeling the weight of his father's cold dismissal, later finds a kind note from Mana in his locker, left when she departed earlier, adding a layer of personal conflict to the professional and familial drama unfolding. This page from Girlfriend of Steel examines the evolving relationship between Asuka and Shinji after a tense simulation. A dinner scene features a vulnerable Asuka complaining about frozen food and surprisingly alluding to marriage, which baffles Shinji. An interactive quiz, Asuka in Virgin Road, challenges Shinji to pick her future groom from a list including himself, Kaji, and Akaoba. The quiz outcome doesn't significantly impact the story but rewards a special prize. The page also explores the aftermath of a past incident. Initially blaming Shinji, Asuka retreats, muttering about her own shortcomings, indicating her emotional vulnerability. Screenshots show a dejected Asuka and Shinji. Finally, a recommendation for exploring NERV HQ section encourages players to fully explore the base for extra content, including character encounters and hidden messages outside the main storyline. Screenshots showcase different locations and characters, suggesting exploration is key to discovering all the game has to offer. This page delves further into the intricate relationships within the Girlfriend of Steel narrative, specifically focusing on how the deepening bond between Shinji and Mana begins to draw the attention and teasing of their classmates. The article highlights a cooking class scene where Shinji and Mana work together, creating a noticeable atmosphere. This sparks Tsuji's jealousy, who goads Asuka, saying something like, "Just do it quickly if that's how it is," which leads to an argument between Asuka and Tsuji. The text describes Asuka and Tsuji having a big fight, fueled by Tsuji's remarks about Asuka becoming jealous. The page also explores Mana's perspective, discussing her reaction to learning that Shinji and Asuka are living together. She expresses feelings of being a burden to Shinji, who reassures her that she's free to be with whomever she chooses. However, Mana later delivers a cryptic message, her words suggesting a deeper, perhaps melancholic, sentiment about her own freedom. Screenshots illustrate these scenes, showing the characters in the kitchen, Asuka and Tuji arguing intensely, and Mana looking pensive. Additionally, a section touches upon the game's animation quality, noting the effective use of partial animation in certain cuts to enhance visual impact. There's also a present section offering Girlfriend of Steel posters for Macintosh and Windows versions of the game. The next page focuses on the adventure title, Even the Lost One. It highlights the game's animated sequences, which are strategically placed at key points in the story. These movies are described as not only visually stunning and fantastical, but also crucial for delivering important messages and hints needed to solve the game's mysteries, possessing a strong sense of speed and dynamism. The page features prominent character art, showcasing the captivating Elkedia and a male character, giving players a look at the game's protagonists. Screenshots display some intriguing scenes, including an abstract visual sequence and a moment featuring a crowd of people. The article also mentions that a section of the game's story will be included on a trial version Cradrome, scheduled for release on February 25th. This page continues the focus on Even the Lost One, delving deeper into its narrative and presentation. The main titles ask if the game's movies hold the key to solving the story's mystery, and state that this page will unravel those intriguing sequences. The game is identified as a multi-site adventure releasing on March 12th for 7,800 yen, spread across 4 keydromes, and playable by one person. Recommended for all ages. The page features various screenshots, including the Queen of Elgedia appearing before a large crowd, a view from a balcony, and a character intently watching a television broadcast. Another set of images shows a close-up of a hand typing on a keyboard, while looking at a monitor displaying a starry sky or cyberspace interface. A prominent character illustration depicts a woman holding a pistol. The text describes the beauty of the movies, powered by the Lucid Motion engine, praising their speed and quality, which are difficult to convey in print. It details one movie scene shown on a TV, depicting the citizens of Elcidia celebrating with doves and balloons, seemingly for Queen Priscilla, who appears from the palace. Another section describes a character watching this TV broadcast before switching to a computer and typing, suggesting a connection to cyberspace and the ongoing events. The article concludes by stating that while the link between the incident and Elkedia isn't yet clear from the known story, this interaction with the computer might be the crucial connection point. 27. This page continues the deep dive into Even the Lost One, asking if the sequences shown are someone's memory or a dream. The page focuses on various movie scenes from the game, highlighting their often abstract and sometimes unsettling nature. Described as cinematic. And unlike previous Cell anime titles, the game utilizes powerful imagery and Quten techniques to build atmosphere and enhance the story. Screenshots show diverse moments, including a haunting view through an archway battered by wind, a blurred night scene potentially depicting a park or cemetery, and figures running or reacting within these mysterious environments. The text emphasizes the fantastical, almost nightmarish feel of some sequences, suggesting they come from a dark place. Character close-ups, like one of Kojiro, and several of what appears to be Yayoi, are also shown, capturing moments of realization or action within these enigmatic movie segments. The article notes, the use of film-like methods is employed to heighten the drama and narrative impact of the game. This page continues the exploration of Eve the Lost One's cinematic sequences, centering on the theme, What the Girl Saw. Following the discussion from the previous page about the game's abstract and unsettling movie scenes, this page presents a series of stark images. We see a hand holding a scalpel, bright operating room lights viewed from below as if by a patient, a girl peering through a door crack towards a bright light, and shadowy figures reaching out. The accompanying text describes these moments, asking if an operation is about to begin or if the scene depicts a patient being forcibly awakened in a hospital. It highlights the subjective viewpoint, suggesting the sequence shows what a girl sees as she is perhaps carried away and placed on an operating table, with a bouquet of flowers left behind. The imagery reinforces the idea that these are potentially traumatic memories or dreamlike visions, reflecting the game's dramatic and often disturbing narrative style, as discussed previously. This page continues the exploration of Eve Burst Error's narrative presentation, focusing on the dramatic opening events of the Kyoko arc. It details how movie scenes and game visuals are used to tell the story, starting with seemingly ordinary moments like shopping and meeting another character, Natsumi, in a cafe. Screenshots show the game's detailed environments, like a large atrium and a store interior, capturing the atmosphere of the locations like Genesis SeaWorld. The plot quickly escalates, with a sudden, powerful explosion, depicted through dynamic images and a significant movie scene. Kyoko is shown being caught in the blast, emphasizing the game's use of cinematic sequences for shocking events. Following the explosion, Kyoko is injured, but returns to her job at the Internal Affairs Investigation Office the next day. The page highlights the crucial moment where Kyoko, recovering from the blast, first encounters Snake, the other protagonist. This meeting is a pivotal point, where the two main storylines converge, before temporarily diverging. The page also reveals a key location. The Mochizuki Biological Research Institute is situated underground beneath Genesis SeaWorld. A screenshot shows Marina Ayano, the second protagonist, in what appears to be this research facility, confirming its existence and importance. The content emphasizes the dramatic flow of events, from the everyday to the sudden and violent, and how the narrative is propelled by these turning points and the interactions between the characters. This page dives deeper into the unfolding mystery in Even Burst Error, focusing on the Mochizuki Biological Research Institute and the appearance of a familiar face. It details the high-tech security system at the underground institute, located behind Genesis SeaWorld, which requires fingerprint scanning for entry, hinting at the secretive nature of the research conducted there. We see dialogue exchanges between characters like Marina Ayano and the institute director, Mochizuki, and Kyoko expressing her suspicions about the director. The page dramatically announces the appearance of Marina. Marina Ayano, the protagonist from the original Eve game, is revealed to be Kyoko's senior and former instructor, a dependable figure who arrives to help when Kyoko is in a bind. This help comes in a cool action sequence, depicted with screenshots of Marina driving a striking Red Lotus Esprit through the night city. The scene highlights the game's use of cinematic visuals and dynamic camera angles, including a close-up of a hand shifting gears, as the car speeds off with two women inside, leaving the reader wondering where they are headed. This page effectively showcases the blend of narrative, investigation, and action sequences in the game. The Snake chapter of Eve Burst Error focuses on the bombing of the World Import Tower, depicted from Snake's perspective. The chapter opens with Snake preparing the time bomb, showcasing screenshots of the tower's interior and dialogue options reflecting his internal conflict. The bombing sequence is presented through screenshots, emphasizing the explosion's destructive force. Post-explosion, Snake is frustrated by the police presence at the crime scene. He later contemplates the bombing's impact in a park, where he overhears news about a murder, deepening the mystery. The chapter concludes with a scene at a soba shop, featuring an elderly woman from Igoku, who engages Snake in conversation, seemingly removing her as a suspect and highlighting the surreal nature of the events. The chapter effectively uses multiple perspectives and interwoven events. This page delves further into Even Burst Error, specifically focusing on the origin story of Snake and a significant flashback sequence. The top section appears to detail Snake's thoughts and experiences related to his past actions, with dialogue bubbles featuring a voice, "Ha," and another voice, identified as Adonis, represented by a small teddy bear character. Adonis's dialogue suggests manipulation and inciting Snake. Adonis, incited by God, by God. This sequence is titled, The Birth of Snake, hinting at how he became involved in the events. It seems Snake was named and made a subordinate under Adonis's command. The bottom section asks, "This is Snake's room?" Different in the recollection scene. It speculates if a depicted room will be used in the Snake chapter's opening, or a specific movie scene titled, Snake's Recollection Scene, which is presented as the main part. Various screenshots show details of this room, including a ceiling fan, possibly blinds, and a general messy or dark atmosphere. Other images show a cityscape view, a bottle of wine, and a glass, and spilled wine, suggesting events related to intoxication or poisoning within this room. The text describes the room as dark, with the blinds drawn, noting the river and buildings outside, and a tower nearby. It questions if the wine was spilled, poisoned, or if Snake was simply drunk. This section provides intriguing glimpses into Snake's personal space and a pivotal flashback scene. This page features the survival horror adventure game, Dukoku Soshite. The main illustration depicts several female characters, likely the game's protagonists, appearing ensnared or trapped against a brick wall background under a dark, moonlit sky, hinting at the perilous situation they face. The large vertical text dramatically states, "Girls, one by one, are being captured in the mansion. Details provided include the game's publisher, Data East, its release date of February 26th, and a price of 6,800 yen. It's classified as a trap adventure and recommended for players aged 18 and over, suggesting mature content and challenging puzzles or scenarios involving traps. The game also supports the shuttle mouse accessory. The accompanying text notes that the main artwork is complete and the release is imminent. It teases the game's events, stating that the characters caught up in the events are mostly strangers, but each seems to be hiding a secret, encouraging players to pay attention to them. This setup promises a mystery-filled narrative alongside the trap-based gameplay. This page delves further into the survival horror adventure Dukoku Soshite. The prominent title hints at the deepening mystery and terror within the abandoned building. The main text explains how what was meant to be a brief stop for rescue turned into a trap, with the garage shutter closing and a previously open door locking, leaving the group trapped. The discovery of a missing person's body escalates the panic, necessitating the search for 2 additional missing girls and a man throughout the dangerous location. Images showcase unsettling locations within the building, such as a room that smells of decay, yet surprisingly contains signs of daily life, raising questions about who might be there. The page introduces 2 crucial characters the protagonist encounters. Norma Wendy, a blonde girl who initially appears sharp-tongued and dismissive, speaking with a Kansai accent, and Suzune Shirakawa, a younger girl described as undergoing a striking transformation. Initially plain and wearing glasses, Suzune later appears in a maid outfit and seems entirely different, always staying by Norma's side. The text highlights the difficulty in convincing these newly met individuals about the imminent danger within the building, adding another layer of tension to the unfolding narrative. Dukoku Soshite deepens the survival horror experience. The story highlights that dangers extend beyond external threats. Following a car wash accident, the player finds Suzune in distress, emphasizing environmental navigation and item collection. Conflict arises with Chisa versus Kandagawa, showcasing character strengths. New characters are introduced, including the unsettling Hiroshi Tanabe. The narrative also follows Nishiro's separation, hinting at a connection to Katsura. Can You Answer Norma's Riddle presents a puzzle using an unknown English text. A humorous scene with Normal offers a choice. Finally, Doors That Open, Doors That Don't Open introduces a core gameplay mechanic, a trap-filled abandoned building with locked doors, forcing players to strategically navigate and survive the environment. This page dives into the hidden corners of Dukoku Soshite, urging players not to miss the side events scattered throughout the abandoned building. While not strictly necessary for clearing the game, these moments offer valuable character visuals and insights. You'll discover various scenes by exploring thoroughly. For instance, finding a paper bag under the floor leads to a surprise encounter with Itsumi. Later, you might stumble upon Itsumi injured after falling on the stairs, with Chisa trying to help. The bathroom holds another surprise, revealing Chisa examining a painful bruise she sustained. Finding Itsumi looking troubled in a large room is another such moment. Interestingly, the page points out that some events, like finding Chisa looking different with a ribbon and blush, are actually part of the main scenario flow, connected to earlier discoveries like the paper bag. The page also highlights a critical moment where you must figure out how to help Chisa when she gets her foot painfully trapped in a drain cover, emphasizing the environmental dangers. Finally, there's a section raising questions about the suspicious behavior of the men encountered in the building, like Kandagawa and Hitoshi Ichibe, hinting that their actions might hold a key to the game's mysteries. Seeking out these hidden events adds significant depth to the characters and the overall experience. This page features a preview of the upcoming title, Burning Rangers. The big news is that the game is now 100% complete and set to release in just 2 weeks. It highlights the finished state of the game, including fixes to system issues and, of course, the ending being finalized. The page also gives a glimpse into the game's menu system and options. You see the Data Select screen, allowing players to manage their save files. There's a section detailing the Options menu, covering settings like controls, with notes on customizable camera views, sound test, letting you listen to music unlocked as you progress, and audio, checking for mono stereo output. A particularly interesting feature shown is the rescue list, where you can review the names of people you've saved. This list can grow significantly as you rescue more people throughout the game. The Mission Select screen is also displayed, showing how players can replay cleared missions. The game is listed as a SEGA Saturn action game for one player, priced at 5,800 yen, and compatible with the Saturn analog controller. The preview notes the user-friendly design, typical of Sonic Team productions, and points out that the options don't directly affect the main gameplay, making the rescue list a focus for replays. Burning Rangers features two new additions, a training mode and a mail function. The training mode, the training space, allows players, especially beginners, to practice essential skills like movement, jumping, using crystals, fire extinguishing, evasion, and teleporters. Each Burning Ranger acts as an instructor for a different skill. The mail function allows players to receive thank you emails after completing missions. These emails are added to a rescue list, and some contain special messages. Players can access these emails via the Mode Select screen and read messages from rescued individuals, some with voice acting. Rescuing everyone to read all the messages presents a gameplay challenge and is considered a neat feature. The Burning Rangers mission, Fallen Memory, in the third energy plant, focuses on the rescue of 12 people. The level is primarily linear, with a single enemy type and backdrafts posing a significant threat. Players navigate the environment using a map, facing challenges like finding hidden switches and utilizing double jumps for mobility, especially in a central room with crystals. The mission is broken down into 7 key points, detailing the route. It begins with rescuing the first person, and progresses through opening barriers, exploring the central plant unit room with an enemy, avoiding dangerous energy tanks, and finding a person in a 2-story room. Further points cover navigating a dark passage and operating distant switches to reach an elevator and trigger a story event. The provided map includes a key to identify rescued persons, switches, and other important features. This page continues the guide for Burning Ranger's first mission, Fallen Memory, in the third energy plant, focusing on the latter half of the level leading up to the boss encounter. A map illustrates the path through various rooms and corridors, highlighting key numbered points from 8 to 12. The guide details navigating specific challenges. Point 8 involves rescuing a person hidden in a dark area, warning about triggerable explosions from nearby tanks. Point 9 describes finding and activating an energy supply switch across 2 levels to open barriers. At point 10, players face a sequence of exploding tanks near a door, recommending they be destroyed from a distance. Point 11 leads to a room with a generator, where permanent flames spew, requiring players to jump over them. Finally, point 12 covers the passage to the boss after rescuing the doctor, noting that the time limit disappears, and emphasizing caution due to multiple exploding points along the way. Screenshots accompany each point, showing the environments and challenges. The page concludes with a feature on the first mission boss, named Anemos. This boss is depicted as a giant plant, and its weakness is the petals when they stop spinning and emit blue flames. Players are advised to aim for the petals during this phase, and use dodges and jumps to avoid its increasing attacks. A banner at the bottom teases a major pre-release feature and demo version for Burning Rangers in the next issue. This page is dedicated to the SEGA Saturn port of the arcade light gun classic, The House of the Dead. It provides an update on the game's development, stating it is 60% complete and scheduled for release on March 26th for 5,800 yen. The article highlights that a demo version of The House of the Dead was included in the Virtua Cop Special Pack, released on February 19th, offering players an early look. Staff from Sega's AM1 division discussed the challenges of porting the game from the arcade's Model 2 hardware to the Saturn, focusing on difficulties in maintaining graphical quality, particularly with background and enemy textures, due to the Saturn's different memory structure. They mentioned the transformation was tougher than anticipated, but are working hard to optimize. The page strongly recommends playing with a light gun for the true experience, suggesting the game is significantly less enjoyable with standard controls, and notes that mouse support is still being evaluated. It also praises the quality of the cinematic scenes in the Saturn version. The page is filled with screenshots showing various gameplay moments and character models. This page continues the detailed look at the Sega Saturn port of The House of the Dead, focusing on how well it is replicating the arcade experience. The article examines various aspects of the port, including the gameplay screen layout and cinematic presentation, noting that the distinctive film-like effects and camera work are well replicated. It provides updates on the game's graphical quality, mentioning that while the current build's graphics are somewhat rough, they are being adjusted for a better final look, aligning with the previous page's discussion of optimization challenges. The page features several enemy profiles, showcasing regular zombies like Sam and Ebitan, as well as specific infected like Samson, who wields a chainsaw, Kenfist the flying creature, and Buell. Screenshots comparing the Saturn version to the arcade original are included to illustrate the visual fidelity. A key update confirms that Stage 1 of the Saturn port is now complete, indicating solid progress on the game's development. The overall tone suggests cautious optimism about the port's potential to capture the essence of the arcade original. This page dives into the completed Stage 1 of the SEGA Saturn port of the House of the Dead, confirming solid progress on the game's development. The article sets the scene, with agents Rogan and G dispatched to investigate the mysterious events at Drive Curian's mansion, which is now overrun by creatures. Stage 1, titled Tragedy, covers the initial sections of the mansion. We're shown different areas like the garden, detention room, inner garden, and entrance hall, detailing where you'll encounter classic enemies such as basic zombies, the chainsaw-wielding Samson, the flying Kenfis, and the large Buell. The game's signature branching path system is a major focus, with Stage 1 highlighted as having numerous routes players can take, leading to different scenarios and enemy placements. Finally, the page introduces the first boss, Chariot. Described as a large, human-shaped creature encased in armor, its weak point is the chest. Despite its size, Chariot is noted as surprisingly agile, and the article mentions that while the weak point in the current build seemed small, adjustments were being made. Defeating it promises to reveal a gruesome true form. The report concludes by teasing a look at Stage 2 in the next issue. This page features a special report on Roommate 3, titled Ryuko, on a Morning Shining with Wind, the concluding part of the trilogy starring the character Ryuko Inoue. Developed by Datum Polystar, this real-time communication software is scheduled for release in April for 5,800 yen and is recommended for all ages, supporting single-player only. The article highlights that Roommate 3 continues the story of Ryuko, covering her life over a month, from her university entrance exams to her high school graduation, representing the final chapter of living together with the player. It emphasizes that the game builds upon the previous systems while introducing significant improvements for a more enjoyable experience. Several new elements are showcased, including the addition of SIP-mail for communication and the ability to go out, allowing players to explore the town via a map. Minigames, such as cultivating marigolds given by Ryuko, are also added, greatly expanding the gameplay. The increased realism is noted, with features like taking out trash, adding to the sense of shared living. Screenshots display Ryuko in various settings, including her room, the kitchen, and in her school uniform, along with glimpses of the SIP-mail interface and the town map for outings. The page also includes a profile for Ryuko Inoue and details a reservation campaign offering invitations to a first concert and a present campaign for an original telephone card. This report previews the SEGA Saturn port of Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. This version, based on the acclaimed PlayStation release, is nearing completion and promises refined details. Unlike earlier Castlevania titles, the game emphasizes exploration and RPG elements, with players leveling up, finding equipment, and exploring a vast castle. The narrative unfolds through exploration, with story progression influencing the ending. The article also provides a brief history of the Castlevania series, starting in 1986 with the Famicom Disk System. It highlights key titles like Castlevania II, Simon's Quest, Castlevania III, Dracula's Curse, and predecessors such as Rondo of Blood and Dracula X. Screenshots showcase gameplay including combat, item shops, and a boss fight with death. The Saturn version aims to deliver the same thrilling experience as the PlayStation original. This page dives deeper into the enhanced SEGA Saturn version of Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. Released about a year after the PlayStation version, this port incorporates player feedback and adds significant new content. A major highlight is the inclusion of two entirely new stages, the Underground Garden and the Study of Suffering, promising fresh areas for even seasoned players to explore, complete with new items to collect. The game system itself has also received detailed improvements, aiming for a smoother gameplay experience. Crucially, the number of playable characters has expanded from essentially 1, Alucard, with Richter unlockable, to 3 right from the start, Alucard, Maria Renard, and Richter Belmont. Maria brings back her unique actions and summoning abilities, drawing from her appearance in Rondo of Blood. The game difficulty has been retuned to accommodate the distinct playstyles and abilities of these characters. Additionally, the new stages and playing as the new characters feature arranged versions of classic Castlevania music. Screenshots showcase gameplay in the new areas, a look at the item management menu, and the iconic clock tower, noted to interact with the Saturn's internal clock for a unique effect. Character portraits for Alucard, Maria, and Richter are also featured, introducing the trio ready to face Dracula's castle. This page previews Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon, an RPG from Compile, set to release on April 2nd for one player. This title features characters from the beloved Puyo Puyo and Madu Monogatari series, embarking on an adventure through a unique theme park. The goal is to conquer 6 different maze-like attractions to obtain a legendary item. The article acts as a guide to the game's basics, promising a not-so-difficult experience. It highlights the main characters tackling the dungeons: Arle Naja, Rulu, and Sketso. We get a closer look at Arle's stats, noting her low physical strength but high magical prowess, suggesting a strategic approach utilizing magic is key. A new character, Sari, is introduced in detail. She's a timid mermaid with a complex about her lack of legs and suffers from paranoia, wishing for friends despite her fears. Screenshots show the dungeon crawling gameplay and a character status screen, giving a glimpse into the character progression system. The game is noted to be 65% complete at the time of this preview. This guide explains the key interface elements of the Waku Waku Puyo Puyo dungeon. Players must monitor HP and MP gauges for character health and magic, essential for special moves. Enemy health is displayed via a portrait and visual damage indicators. The special technique attribute display reveals the element of attacks. A minimap provides floor layouts, differentiating players, allies, and enemies. Control tips are offered, emphasizing fast movement and facing adjustments. The guide introduces support characters like the Minotaur and Carbuncle, and mentions shops for item management. A reference to Drago Centauros is also made. The menu window in Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon, accessed via Start, is a central hub for information and actions. It allows players to check character status, including level, HP, MP, and attributes. Players can monitor progress to the next level and hunger. The guide highlights Shen's stats as an example, pointing out his high strength and low luck, and the potential impact of luck on gameplay. The menu offers built-in online help via the Z button. Players can also view and manage status changes caused by enemies, such as sleep, confusion, poison, paralysis, and hallucination, and learn how to recover from these ailments. Finally, the menu allows players to prepare special techniques, magic, and abilities that consume MP. Once prepared, these can be used in the dungeon with the A button, such as Arle's Hot Spell and Sketso's Flame Attack. The next page shifts focus to mastering items and special techniques in Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon. It explains that items found in the dungeon often begin unidentified, requiring players to either use them or appraise them to learn their effects. The guide covers various item types, including food for restoring hunger, scrolls with effects like revealing the dungeon map or teaching spells, herbs, and medicines for recovery, and accessories like rings and charms offering different benefits. It notes that some items can have negative effects, but might be strategically useful. A significant point is the use of spellbooks. Reading one grants the character a new special technique, such as the lightning spell demonstrated, which is a piercing attack with a chance to paralyze enemies. Special techniques are powerful skills consuming MP, and examples are shown for Rulu, including her provocation and Fire God's Palm. The page also highlights a convenient shortcut using the X button. This allows players to quickly cycle through their equipped special techniques and view crucial information like enemy stats and hunger levels without needing to open the main menu, making navigation much smoother during exploration. Finally, a message from the development team notes the inclusion of curry rice as a playful reference to the Madu Monogatari series, the RPG origin of the Puyo Puyo world. This page presents a special report on the SEGA Saturn title Baroque, featuring a completion rating of 95%. It introduces the game as a unique RPG with a thrilling real-time progression, bewitching visual style, and a mysterious story. The article highlights the game's multifaceted appeal, suggesting it pioneers new territory for the genre. The content delves into the game's structure, covering the basic system and splitting the early gameplay explanation into 2 parts. It walks through the initial startup process, showing the title screen options, which include starting the game, creating or deleting save data, viewing rankings, changing settings, and adjusting screen brightness. Screenshots illustrate various aspects of the game, from character stats and in-game environments to the menu options like the ranking screen, which displays player progress and achievements. The Change Settings section details options for adjusting audio output, BGM, and sound effect volume, TV type display, normal/wide, and controller configuration. The Adjust Brightness setting is also shown, demonstrating how players can fine-tune the visual output. The report notes that these settings provide different impressions to the player. Key details are listed in a box. It's an RPG developed by Sting, released on May 14th for 6,800 yen, a single-player experience recommended for all ages. The page effectively serves as a preview, giving potential players a solid overview of Baroque's atmosphere, mechanics, and customizable options before they dive into its distinct world. This page provides a detailed look at the basic controls and interface elements within the game Baroque. It illustrates how the player navigates the environment using the D-P-A-D and L/R buttons, explaining directional movement, turning, and strafing. The article notes the smooth 3D action-like movement and mentions the use of the analog controller for more precise input, which is crucial for the game's real-time combat system. Key UI features are also explained. The 2D map is shown, indicating a top-down view of the explored areas within the dungeon. Accessing this map pauses the game. The item/status screen is covered, showing player stats like HP, VT, attack, defense, current floor, and level, alongside the inventory. This menu allows players to use or equip items, with a limit of 20 items, and also pauses the game. Finally, the combat mechanics are demonstrated, showing both armed and unarmed attacks, highlighting that attack animations and methods change based on the equipped item. The emphasis on real-time combat and understanding distance from enemies reinforces the game's action RPG elements. This page delves deeper into the world and systems of Baroque. It opens with a narrative passage from the protagonist's perspective, describing their sudden arrival in the mysterious outer world, hearing strange sounds, and seeing an imposing tower which residents call the Nerve Tower. The text mentions encountering enigmatic figures like the Bag Person and a winged high-ranking angel, who hints at a mission involving descending the tower. The page also details movement and navigation. A system lecture explains that transitioning between the outer world, the Nerve Tower, or the training dungeon involves a confirmation prompt. Similarly, moving between floors within the Nerve Tower requires player confirmation, shown in accompanying screenshots. Another system lecture covers item management. Items are found lying on floors and picked up by stepping on them. They are accessed and used or equipped via an item window, and can also be thrown or placed. The article notes that the effects of some items may initially be unknown. Screenshots showcase various locations, including the outer world landscape with the tower, character encounters like the winged figure, and the entrance to the training dungeon. The training dungeon is presented as an area specifically for practicing combat against weaker enemies like glue creatures to gain experience and level up. The overall presentation highlights the game's atmospheric setting and core mechanics. This page continues the exploration of Baroque, focusing on the descent into the Nerve Tower. It opens with the protagonist's account of entering the tower, describing the cessation of the previous strange noises and the onset of mechanical sounds within. The tower's interior is unexpectedly orderly compared to its exterior. Inside, they encounter bizarre creatures and a mysterious, golden-haired girl who flees upon their approach, leaving only the word, "Don't come," before disappearing. The page provides visual tours of the lower floors, BF1 and BF2. BF1 is shown with a Moon and Kato appearing. BF2 features Moon and Kato again, plus a creature called Grillo, which is described as pesky, sometimes stealing the protagonist's items. Stepping on plates in corridors can trigger traps, like giant fireballs. A system lecture 2I details the combat system. Battles occur in real time, with the protagonist attacking directly forward. Critical hits are possible, inflicting greater damage. Enemies have hit points and change form upon defeat, transforming into something called Idea Sephiroth. The text mentions it's unclear how this white orb relates to the game. Finally, the writer shares their first impressions, highlighting that while they initially expected a typical RPG, the action element was surprisingly high-paced, leading to quick deaths if careless. However, they learned enemy patterns, realizing that player skill in movement and positioning is crucial, allowing them to avoid damage. This suggests the game emphasizes player growth and learning enemy mechanics rather than just character leveling. The next page focuses on the latest entry in the legendary Dungeon Master series, Dungeon Master Nexus, which has evolved into full polygon 3D for the SEGA Saturn. Originating overseas on PCs and later ported to numerous platforms like Super Famicom and Mega CD, Dungeon Master captivated countless players with its innovative design. This Saturn iteration brings a completely new scenario, while retaining the acclaimed real-time RPG system that made the series epoch-making, incorporating elements like experience points, item weight, and even hunger and thirst. The gameplay is entirely in real time, blurring the lines between exploration and combat. Battles primarily involve the two front characters of your four-person party directly attacking enemies, but monsters can also defend or surround you. The tension is constant, with no distinct battle screens. The dungeon environment is filled with intricate puzzles, tricky traps, and hidden secrets to uncover. Screenshots show the first-person dungeon view with character portraits, a dynamic combat scene against a large dragon, and the detailed inventory and character status screens. The game is set to release on March 26th, and supports a Marucon peripheral, offering a unique and challenging real-time dungeon crawling experience recommended for all ages. This page delves deeper into Dungeon Master Nexus for the SEGA Saturn, highlighting its core theme of survival. This isn't just about fighting monsters and dodging traps, but also managing essential needs like hunger and thirst, adding another layer of tension to the dungeon crawl. The page showcases several systems unique to this Saturn entry. The controls have been revamped, incorporating polygon graphics and new scenarios, and supporting peripherals like the Marucon. You'll need to manage your party's hunger and thirst, which deplete faster when performing actions like running or attacking. A helpful monster gauge now displays enemy health. Resting to recover stats is vital, and setting a watchman prevents unexpected attacks during downtime. There's even a semi-automatic attack feature, where party members can follow up a leader's strike. The dungeons are filled with a variety of mechanisms, from simple door switches to complex puzzles involving multiple levers or environmental clues, often necessary to acquire valuable equipment. The page also clarifies the game's place in the series' lore, confirming it connects directly to the first two Dungeon Master titles, specifically Chaos Strikes Back, and is told from the perspective of the character the Quaron. To form your party of 4, you must awaken sleeping champions in the Hall of Champions, with 18 diverse characters available boasting various races, genders, and stats, giving players ample choice right from the start. Dungeon Master Nexus's development team, featuring key members like Kazuya Tominaga from Victor Interactive Software and Iwawa, discusses their passion for the original Dungeon Master. The team collaborated with FTL, the original developer, who approved the Japanese studio's modern 3D adaptation. The shift to 3D aims to reduce player frustration while retaining the series' depth and imaginative gameplay, similar to the reading between the lines experience in Wizardry. Ryuko Yuki Masuo and his Ludens team, known for their work on special effects and arcade games, contribute CG movies and monster design, exemplified by a polygonized Gorgar and a character face, showcasing the atmospheric potential of the 3D graphics. This page continues the discussion about Dungeon Master Nexus, focusing on what the game means to the development team and its appeal. Director Iwawa shares insights into the challenges of transforming the classic Dungeon Master experience into 3Ds, noting the difficulty in ensuring environmental interactions and monster behaviors felt natural despite the increased complexity. He emphasizes the game retains the series' core stoic charm, where survival aspects like securing drinking water are vital parts of the adventure. Screenshots showcase the transition to 3Ds, featuring detailed environments and the new polygon models for monsters such as a giant golem and a mummy, demonstrating the visual improvements. The page highlights how these polygon monsters, like the striking red dragon, are designed with expressive movements and unique traits to breathe life into the dungeon depths. This page features a deep dive into Chaos Seed, a unique cave management simulation game. The article focuses on guiding players to become master cave immortals by effectively utilizing the game's core feng shui mechanics. It explains that while basic character progression is straightforward, optimizing your cave's efficiency, specifically increasing production power for items like elixirs, requires understanding and applying feng shui principles through the strategic placement of rooms and elements. The piece offers practical advice, suggesting players use real-world tools like grid paper to plan their cave layouts and consult the game's manual for feng shui correlations. Screenshots showcase the game's overhead cave map view, room statistics, and item menus, illustrating the strategic depth involved in managing resources and energy flow within the dungeon. The guide aims to help players move beyond the basics and master the intricate simulation aspects of building and optimizing their immortal dwelling. This page dives deeper into the advanced feng shui mechanics of Chaos Seed SS version, guiding players towards optimizing their immortal dwelling for maximum efficiency. Building upon the basics, it presents strategies for handling situations requiring multiple types of kick, particularly for enhancing the special excellent room, and scenarios demanding a large quantity of a single kit type. Guide emphasizes the critical role of room size and the surrounding environment. For complex enhancements needing various kit types, sufficient room space is necessary to accommodate the required paths, while elemental compatibility between connected rooms is key for efficient kit flow. The strategic use of doors is highlighted as a way to mitigate poor compatibility and enhance the flow of desired kit. Overlooking room size and compatibility can limit reinforcement options and production capacity. For situations requiring a large amount of a single kit, the article demonstrates how to achieve this with fewer physical paths by leveraging elemental compatibility and doors to multiply the kit flow. Examples illustrate optimized room layouts and the resulting increases in production stats like elixir production. The overall goal is to create highly efficient rooms that boost resources and character progression. Also featured is a Dungeon Journal Special Edition, announcing a giveaway celebrating the Chaos Seed SS version release. Fans could enter by postcard for a chance to win a signed colored board featuring game art and autographs. This page focuses on the upcoming SEGA Saturn release of The Legend of Heroes IV, A Tear of Vermilion, highlighting that the game is less than 2 weeks away from launch. It previews the beginning of the journey for protagonists Julio and Chris as they set out on their pilgrimage, bidding farewell to their homeland, Forticia. The content includes an introduction to the country of Minot, a destination on their adventure, and features an interview with Kazuhiro Soeta, the visual designer for the Saturn version of the game. The page displays character artwork, showing key figures like Julio and Chris, alongside a screenshot of an intriguing in-game location with a large mechanical structure. Essential game details are provided, confirming it's a Hudson-published RPG on 2 CDs, recommended for all ages. It's presented as a special report with a 100% rating, suggesting high confidence in the title. This page continues the epic pilgrimage of Julio and Chris in The Legend of Heroes IV, A Tear of Vermilion. Following their smooth departure, the duo arrives at the Shrine of Dene, their first destination. Here, they encounter the mystical witch's mirror. Screenshots show the stunning beach scenery leading to the shrine and the interior chamber where the mirror resides. However, interacting with the mirror reveals unsettling and abstract visions, suggesting the challenges that lie ahead on their journey. Next, the pilgrimage leads them to the bustling port town of Laguna. Amidst the crowds, Chris becomes briefly separated from Julio. A key event here involves assisting soldiers suffering from a cold, which requires obtaining a specific medicine. Screenshots capture scenes within the vibrant town. Julio and Chris prepare to leave the continent, boarding the ship Talon of the Hawk, bound for the country of Tegra. On board, they are not treated as mere passengers, but are given duties, becoming part of the crew. Familiar faces, the thief duo, also make an appearance, adding another layer to the unfolding adventure. As they sail away from their homeland, depicted in a screenshot from the ship's deck, they look back with not sadness, but eager anticipation for what awaits them across the sea. Menart, a cold and harsh land northwest of Tiriswil, is the next destination in the hero's pilgrimage. Its climate hinders agriculture, but its people are known for their kindness. The capital, Naruba Castle, is in ruins due to pirate attacks. Key locations include the Tegra mine, hinting at secrets within the Shrine of Tegra. Dangerous monsters, like fire spiders, necessitate good equipment. Travelers arrive by ship at Neely and face long walks to towns like Arde and Chitta, passing the Valley of Twin Dragons. Chitta offers quick-selling rolled eggs, and Arde's pub serves bouillabaisse. The currency exchange favors visitors. A major concern is the increasing aggression of the Garuga pirates this winter. The text advises avoiding coastal areas. Despite the hardships, the spirit of the Menart people shines through. This interview with Soeda Kazuhiro, character designer for The Legend of Heroes IV, A Tear of Vermilion, SEGA Saturn, focuses on the game's character redesign. Soeda, known for his work on Lord Monarch Ryu Knight and Record of Lodos War, discusses the Saturn version's unique character atmosphere compared to the PC original. The team aimed for a fresh, impactful look, rebuilding characters from scratch. He highlights characters like Kumanoban and the Knight Dual Gazelle, who was inspired by Miyamoto Musashi. The game is set in a parallel medieval world, reflected in the character designs. Someda hopes fans will enjoy the new anime-inspired character designs. The page also mentions a bonus, offering signed voice actor scripts, and includes character art. Dragon Force 2, Kamigami no Daichi on the Land of the Gods, features the 8 rulers of the 8 kingdoms. This sequel introduces players to the protagonists, showcasing their profiles and aspirations. The game follows the stories of rulers striving to build prosperous nations. Character profiles include Lenny of the Moon Palace Kingdom, a timid queen bound by fate and a descendant of Tirith. Abels of the Highland Kingdom, a naive game-loving king raised by his sister. And Shen of the Topaz Kingdom, a former thief leader now aiming to unite people. A special report details the game's release by SEGA in March, costing 5,800 yen. It is a simulation RPG, suitable for all ages. This page continues introducing the protagonists of Dragon Force 2, On the Land of the Gods. It kicks off with a prologue explaining that 500 years have passed since the legendary 8 swordsmen defeated the evil dragon and vanished. The continent of Legendora has forgotten its heroes, and a long period of peace has given way to escalating conflict between human kingdoms, setting the stage for a new war. We are then introduced to 5 more key characters. Sanis, the naive girl queen of Tradnor searching for her lost father. Adelbach, the masked knight from Tristan with a sharp mind and a dark past. Gungas, a straightforward young man from the Bozak forest tribe, a descendant of Gongos aiming to become king. Kaid, a proud swordswoman from Izumo, embodying the spirit of martial arts and currently looking for a husband. And Bartz, a taciturn half-elf from Fandaria, who fought against the evil Lord Delphesia and cherishes his friends despite his. The page highlights their affiliations, personalities, backgrounds, and unique traits, offering a glimpse into the diverse cast players will control in the unfolding war. This page dives into the off-season aspects of the baseball management simulation. Let's make a professional baseball team. For the SEGA Saturn, it highlights the strategic depth beyond just playing games, focusing on crucial events like player retirements, the draft meeting, and overall roster changes necessary to build a winning team for the next season. The article details the process of dealing with retiring players, offering the chance to persuade key players to stay, or simply wishing them farewell. It explains the draft system, where teams scout and select new talent, including the exciting lottery process that occurs when multiple teams vie for the same highly rated prospect. Screenshots illustrate these key events, showing player stats, draft order, and the tension of the lottery drawing. The simulation features the 12 real professional baseball teams from Japan at the time, including the Lions, Giants, and Hawks, allowing players to manage their favorite club. This level of detail in handling the business side of baseball sets the game apart, promising a deep simulation experience as you manage players leaving and newcomers joining your ranks. The page concludes with a special report announcing the game's impending release the following week, launching on February 19th for 5,800 yen, described as a sports training simulation, with password-based versus matches for all ages. This page details Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team. Off-season, focusing on free agency, FA, and contract renewals. The process involves 4 steps: setting team policy, adjusting salaries, conducting second negotiations, and finalizing contracts. Players unsatisfied after 2 negotiation rounds enter individual negotiation, risking retirement if talks fail. The page also covers acquiring FA players and showcases an overseas camp in February, with training benefits in locations like Okinawa and Hawaii. Beginning in Year 2, player discovery allows teams to find potential new talent, even those created via special methods, promising long-term development. A Valentine's Day morale boost from the team secretary is also highlighted, underscoring that the game emphasizes managerial skill alongside on-field performance. This page is essential for any budding manager diving into Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team. It provides a deep dive into the initial strengths of all 12 Japanese professional baseball teams available at the game's start. Choosing your starting team is a big decision, and this comparison data for the first year gives you the insights needed. The page details critical aspects like total team salary, average player age, and fan popularity. It also breaks down the team's roster composition by the number of pitchers, right and left-handed, and position players, catchers, infielders, outfielders. More importantly, it offers ratings for core baseball abilities, including average pitcher velocity, team defense, running speed, and specific defensive grades for each position on the field, graded from A to E. Understanding these starting points helps players pick a team that suits their preferred management style, whether focusing on veteran power or youthful potential. It's highlighted that this is just the initial data, with individual player abilities coming soon, setting the stage for the game's ongoing team development aspects discussed previously. This page features an interview with the development staff behind the baseball simulation game, Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team. The director, Takaya Sagawa, planner, Yoshiaki Kitagawa, and designer, Katsuhiko Sato, discuss the game just prior to its release. They share insights into the development process and what they believe makes the game enjoyable. A key piece of advice they offer players is to aim for long-term success, suggesting that building a championship-winning team is a goal achievable within 3 or 4 in-game years. They highlight that player investment and attachment to their team and players are crucial to getting the most out of the simulation experience. This page provides a special report on Langrisser, Dramatic Edition for the SEGA Saturn, highlighting key checkpoints just before its release. The preview emphasizes the significant graphical enhancements made for this version, which ports Langrisser id. N2. The visuals have been extensively redrawn, resulting in stunningly beautiful backgrounds and detailed environments, from vibrant battlefields with varied terrain to atmospheric load and save screens that change depending on your progress. Screenshots showcase the tactical battle sequences, the strategic map view where character sprites reflect their class, and system menus, all benefiting from the visual upgrade. The report makes it clear that whether you're new to the series or have played the originals, the impressive graphical overhaul and polish make this edition a must-see. This page continues the special report on Langrisser, Dramatic Edition, focusing on specific enhancements in the SEGA Saturn port. Point 2 highlights the updated character designs, noting that many characters, including previously generic villagers and imperial officers, have been given more distinct and cooler appearances. The report specifically calls out Reard, Leon's adjutant, who has become quite the looker, suggesting this might be a move to appeal to female fans and is sure to boost his popularity. Point 3 details the improved screen layout during gameplay. The user interface now displays more information directly on the map screen, such as experience points and equipped gear, which were previously only accessible in the status menu or not visible during combat. A screenshot illustrates this new layout, with gauges and icons. Point 4 discusses the character creation system, confirming that Langrisser, Dramatic Edition retains the system from the original games, Langrisser 1 and 2, but with renewed graphics. The mystical beauty of Luciris, who asks the character creation questions, is emphasized, while the questions themselves remain largely unchanged from the original versions. The questions asked by Luciris influence the character's initial class and stats, requiring players to consider their answers carefully. The page also shows examples of different classes and their stats, like the Bishop, Warlock, and Knight, Cavalry, and mentions that learned spells and hired soldiers carry over even after class changes. Langrisser, Dramatic Edition's Episode 2 introduces significant story enhancements, particularly branching narrative paths. Players can experience multiple new endings and routes by making key choices. The game features 3 primary paths: the light route, the classic heroic path, the Imperial Army route, requiring specific early choices to unite the continent, and the challenging Independent Army Overlord route, where the player opposes all factions. Additionally, every copy of the game includes an original drama CD, Leon and Naom's love story. This CD explores the relationship between Leon and Naom, set after the first game, providing fans with bonus content that delves further into their connection. This page features a regular column dedicated to the Langrisser series, specifically Volume 4, leading up to the release of Langrisser, Dramatic Edition. The main feature, titled My First Langrisser, delves into the romantic relationships within the games, building on the discussions from the previous page. It touches upon the connection between Ledin and Chris, and the significant relationship between Leon and Naom, referencing the drama CD content by discussing how their bond impacted the story. There's also a call for reader submissions for hidden scenarios for the next game, seeking creative but simple ideas that don't require excessive new graphical assets. Submissions are being accepted. Another section covers the Mesa Ken Network on Satamaga feature, reporting on a trip to a snowy region in the north. This seems to be a behind-the-scenes look at recording content, possibly for a related broadcast or magazine piece, mentioning a guest named Don Maku, and staff member Joan Matsuzawa's attempt at skiing for the first time. Finally, a section thanks readers for past submissions, showcasing featured illustrations from artists like Tatsuya Ogawa and Saori Kudara. There's a renewed call for more illustrations and messages from fans to be featured in future issues. This page kicks off a special report on Darkstalkers 3: Vampire Savior, making its way to the SEGA Saturn. The magazine has received the room. Signaling development is well underway. A prominent illustration features the returning character Donovan Bane, a half-human, half-Darkstalker hunter known for his large sword and ability to summon spirits. The article highlights that Donovan, first appearing in Darkstalkers, the Night Warriors, Vampire Hunter, retains his signature moves and gains new ones in Darkstalkers 3. He's described as a technical character requiring significant practice to master. Screenshots showcase the game's vibrant visuals and intense combat, including examples of Donovan's Dark Force ability, which allows his sword to attack alongside him for extended combos, and a new special move involving impaling his sword into the ground to call down lightning. The page also confirms the game's release details: a March 1998 launch requiring the 4 MB RAM expansion cartridge to deliver its arcade-faithful presentation. This was a crucial accessory for many of the best Saturn ports, and Darkstalkers 3 was no exception. This page continues the coverage of Darkstalkers 3, known as Vampire Savior in Japan, focusing on its upcoming SEGA Saturn port. The page features a large illustration of Huitzil, Phobos, confirming the robot character's inclusion. The article reveals the magazine has received a development sample, noting that while previously announced Saturn original elements were unfortunately not in this sample, the game itself is nearly complete, with all characters playable against the CPU. Crucially, it confirms the game requires the 4 MB RAM expansion cartridge, allowing for a faithful port of the arcade version and demonstrating the developer's skill in bringing the game over. Various screenshots show gameplay, including Huitzil fighting and Pyron, using a special move involving a clone. A vibrant collage of character portraits highlights the diverse cast appearing in the game, likely from the opening sequence, featuring characters such as Morrigan, Dimitri, Anakaris, and Jeddah. The overall tone suggests the Saturn version is shaping up to be a highly accurate and impressive conversion, thanks to the 4 MB RAM. This page features a preview of Riven, the sequel to Myst, focusing on its upcoming release on the SEGA Saturn. Details provided include the publisher, Enix, a March release window, a price of 7,900 yen, confirming it's an adventure game for one player and recommended for all ages. The article highlights that following its release on PC and PlayStation, the highly anticipated sequel is finally coming to the Saturn. The main feature is the first public screenings of the Saturn version, showcasing several screenshots. The text emphasizes a key characteristic of the Saturn port is its high brightness, making the iconic, beautiful blue sky of Riven look even clearer and more vibrant. Players will also find dark areas, such as caves, are much easier to see, giving a distinct advantage over potentially darker versions on other platforms. The reviewer notes that this improved clarity means players won't need to constantly adjust brightness during gameplay, which is a welcome improvement that should help prevent missing details or getting stuck. The screenshots showcase both expansive outdoor environments and atmospheric interior locations, demonstrating the visual quality of the Saturn version. This page continues the deep dive into the intricate world of Riven, the sequel to Myst, exploring it from various perspectives. The central theme questions whether everything in this mysterious world will eventually become clear. The article showcases more stunning environments, from coastal areas with peculiar spiky formations and seemingly artificial rocks, to precarious pathways along cliff faces adorned with unique flora. It highlights strange structures, like a platform designed specifically for looking upwards, and another high platform with something suspended, possibly used for a religious ceremony. The text reinforces that Riven is filled with enigmatic locations and tools, many relying on sensory interaction. The reviewer notes that even after solving the game's core puzzles and saving Riven, the world leaves ample room for interpretation and imagination, maintaining a sense of ambiguity. This detailed world benefits from the enhanced clarity of the SEGA Saturn version, making it easier to fully appreciate the environments and potentially spot crucial clues, building on the discussion from the previous page. The page also touches on curious mechanisms, like a device used for frog catching, adding to the world's eccentric charm. This page introduces the SEGA Saturn port of the popular dating simulation game, Welcome to Pia Carrot. Featured prominently are colorful illustrations of the game's heroines, one in a waitress uniform fitting the theme of summer part-time jobs, and others in school uniforms. The page serves as a special report, declaring the game 100% complete and ready for release. The article highlights the substantial graphical upgrade for the Saturn version, moving from the original SEGA 16 color palette to full color, high-resolution visuals that have been redrawn based on the original artwork. It states that the graphical quality is significantly improved compared to the previous PCFX port. The report teases that it will cover the game's system, story progression, and show off key event scenes with the heroines, giving players a taste of what to expect from this mature-rated simulation game. This page provides a recheck of the opening story for Welcome to Pia Carrot. It details the protagonist's predicament. Having failed a test and lost a bet with his father, he must spend his last high school summer working at the family restaurant, Pia Carrot, instead of going on a planned trip. This situation is presented as a bittersweet start to his summer. The page introduces key characters like Satomi Tsuzuki, who seems empathetic to his situation, Daisuke, his bad friend, who is disappointed the trip is cancelled, and Kurumi, who is excited to work with the protagonist. Crucially, the page explains the game's core system. Time is more than money. Since the part-time job starts in the afternoon, the player has valuable free time in the morning. This time can be used via commands like move, to explore and meet characters, rest, to recover stamina, study, to improve academic ability, call, to talk to girls you've met, item, to use acquired items, and data, to check character information. Screenshots illustrate each command and typical scenarios. The game focuses on managing this free time to build relationships and improve skills before heading to work. This page covers the protagonist's first day at Pia Carrot, introducing more characters and detailing the different part-time jobs available. The story picks up on July 25th, the protagonist's first day. He meets the staff, including Satomi Tsuzuki, who is also working there because her summer plans fell through. Her uniform looks great on her. The strict but beautiful manager, Shiho, explains the work schedule and warns against being late. The protagonist also meets Rika, and a seemingly innocent interaction about being single leads to a good first impression. Setsuko, another colleague, isn't present on the first day, but is introduced as primarily handling the register. The text hints that aiming for the cashier job might be good for building a relationship with her later. Finally, there's Kaori, the relaxed older lady in charge of dishwashing, who apparently likes gritty young people. The page then explains that experience from work leads to confidence. At Pia Carrot, there are 7 types of jobs, and the one you choose impacts your parameter growth. These jobs are cleaning, cashier, cooking, waiter, preparation, dishwashing, and warehouse organization. Each job improves specific parameters like grit, appearance, kindness, or condition, with some jobs like warehouse organization, only for males, significantly boosting grit. Choosing the right job is key to developing the protagonist's abilities. This page delves into how deepening your relationships with the heroines in Pia Carrot 2 triggers various events. Getting closer to your target girl increases your chances of encounters, especially if you work in the same area. Building this rapport is key to advancing the story. A highlighted feature is the ability to change uniforms, noted in Here's a Highlight, Part 1. Selecting different outfits changes the visual presentation of events, making it fun to replay scenes and compare how the heroines look. Here's a Highlight, Part 2 focuses on the game's movie sequences. Each heroine has unique movie scenes tailored to original situations. For example, Kyoko, who loves karaoke, has a scene where she sings at a karaoke box, complete with her own song. These movies provide detailed depictions of key moments. The page also introduces more characters and events. Satomi is featured with a screenshot showing her offering food, accompanied by a caption suggesting her cooking hobby might be better in theory than practice. A mysterious girl is shown alone, described as often visiting the restaurant and seemingly lost in thought, catching the protagonist's eye. Finally, the Saturn version introduces Awakari, highlighted in a special event feature. This involves a scene where a TV celebrity is forcefully trying to take Arari away from the restaurant, and the protagonist intervenes, finding the man's behavior unacceptable. This page features a long interview with Noriyuki Iwadare, the composer responsible for all the music in the game Grandia. This special feature celebrates Grandia's win in the reader's poll and the release of its soundtrack. Iwadare discusses the inspiration behind the main theme, describing it as capturing the anticipation of adventure when looking down on the lost world. He explains how he was selected through an audition process involving many composers and aimed for a Hollywood-style grandeur, even using a large orchestra. He touches on the dynamic music for the world wall scenes and how the game's ADX system allowed for changing tempos and seamless looping, offering great creative freedom. The interview also delves into the musical influences for different locations in the game, such as industrial England for Parm, American and Mexican Latin rhythms for New Parm, Polynesian/Asian rhythms for Gumbo, and North African vibes for the Café. A fascinating anecdote is shared about the music for the village of Gumbo, revealing that the voices shouting Gumbo within the track are actually those of the game's development staff, adding a fun, playful element. The interview also briefly touches upon the arrangement album Vent. At the bottom, a profile highlights Iwadare's work on other series like Lunar, and even music for Disneyland. This page continues the interview with Grandia composer Noriyuki Iwadare, delving deeper into the technical and personal aspects of the soundtrack. Iwadare highlights the benefits of the Cry-ADX audio compression system used in Grandia, explaining how it allows for high-quality sound comparable to CDDA, but with much smaller data sizes, enabling seamless looping and integration with other game elements like dialogue and movies. He believes this system could become mainstream in-game music. He also discusses the session musicians he brought in, many of whom are personal friends, mentioning specific talents on trumpets, harp, bass, strings, percussion, accordion, and vocals. He talks about other projects, including music for Disneyland, and expresses interest in doing game music concerts. A funny anecdote involves recording a very short track that took 2 hours to perfect. Iwadare touches on specific tracks, describing the main theme of Grandia, as surprisingly poppy and ending with a music box pattern. He mentions Remembrance was created with just a harp to evoke a feeling of nostalgia, and For the Love of You from the original soundtrack is rearranged with trumpet and harp for the Vent Arrange album, offering a different feel. Finally, the page features information about the release of both the Grandia original soundtrack and the Arrange album Vent, noting that both are released by 2-5. There's also a giveaway contest for readers to win one of the albums. This page is dedicated to promoting guidebooks for the classic RPG, Grandia. It prominently features the upcoming Grandia Official Guidebook Completion Volume, scheduled for release in late February. This guide is positioned as the definitive resource for the latter half of the game, focusing on Disc 2 and the climactic journey to Alent, promising detailed strategies with beautiful maps. It also boasts comprehensive data on all items, monsters, and even covers the 3 special stages. The page also highlights the first Grandia Official Guidebook, which covers the initial part of the adventure, Disc 1. This original guide, already highly acclaimed and having sold over 200,000 copies, provides character introductions, explanations of the intricate battle system, thorough strategy for the game's beginning, and even includes a Grandia glossary. Both guides are published by SoftBank and priced at 950 yen each. For players seeking to fully master Grandia, these guides offer invaluable assistance, covering everything from early game mechanics to the deepest secrets of the late game areas like Ablent. The accompanying screenshots offer a glimpse into the diverse environments and challenges players will face. This page is dedicated to showcasing merchandise for the popular romance simulation game, Sentimental Graffiti. It prominently features the Sentimental Graffiti Image Artworks book by Tomohisa Kai, packed with 115 pieces of original art, presented in a deluxe clear case, and includes a special poster. This art book is stated to be already available and is presented as a must-have for fans, offering a visual collection of the game's iconic characters. Additionally, the page highlights 2 strategy guides for the game. The Sentimental Graffiti Official Guide is a beginner-friendly book covering the game system and early strategies, already available. For the more dedicated player, the Sentimental Graffiti Official Complete Guide is announced for a mid-February release, promising comprehensive data, strategies for achieving the best ending with all 12 heroines simultaneously, and even includes previously unseen setting materials. Both guides are published by SoftBank. The large illustration showcases the memorable cast of characters from the game. This page is focused on the anime adaptation of the popular Sakura Wars series, specifically the Sakura Wars, the gorgeous blooming cherry blossoms, OVA. It prominently features the release of the second act, titled Unleash the Divine Sword on the Cherry Blossom, which dropped on February 25th on both Laserdisc and videocassette. Fans picking up the OVA were treated to bonuses, including detailed liner notes with each volume, a collector's storage box for those buying the complete LD set, and a large B1 size poster for VC buyers. It reminds players that Act 1, Flower Battle in the Imperial Capital, is already available. Additionally, the page highlights the release of the OVA's soundtrack album. The content ties into the Emotion 15th Anniversary Excitement/Adventure Goods Present campaign, offering fans a chance to score exclusive merchandise by collecting proofs of purchase from qualifying titles, including these OVAs. The page is adorned with vibrant artwork of the main characters, showcasing the dynamic action and charm that defines the Sakura Wars universe. This page features the Reader's Submission Corner, titled Let's Park Weekly, where readers share their thoughts and observations, aiming to become the Submission King. The submissions cover a range of topics, from opinions on recent Japanese films like the Ring series and Kitano Takeshi's Hanabi, to personal anecdotes about finding graffiti, reflections on sensory experiences like smell triggering memories, and even the challenges of getting a teaching license while balancing schoolwork and life. Some readers share quirky thoughts, like the value of a single yen coin rolling around, or the unexpected appearance of old calendar. There's commentary on character names and fan art ideas. Accompanying the text are several interesting illustrations. There's a small image reminiscent of Kirby receiving a gift. Larger fan art pieces include a dramatic scene of a crying girl titled The Moment of Doronzu's Goal, a martial arts drawing, a stylized character drawing referencing Ayanami Rei from Evangelion mixed with something called Six, and a caricature of James Dean, humorously presented as a fake encouragement from a famous person. It's a lively mix of fan art and reader input, showcasing the community's varied interests and creativity. This page features several engaging reader-submitted sections and manga strips. The main feature, titled Are You in Love?, is a space for readers to express their affection for game characters, like sending love letters. Submissions here include heartfelt messages to characters like Princess Crown, admired for her elegance and charm, and Mary, whose beauty was appreciated after playing her game. The section encourages sending letters to favorite characters from any game. Another prominent section, possibly titled Cyber Shopping Bomb Girl, delves into readers' game purchasing experiences. Stories range from acquiring used titles like Digimon 2 and Virtual on Net for a bargain, to impulse buying all available copies of a Sega Freaks volume. One reader shares the surprising tale of winning a video from St. Poria Girls' School after requesting it on a postcard. Further submissions cover various gaming-related thoughts, including the regret of not playing the classic Landstalker and the joy of playing Night Warriors, Darkstalker's Revenge, listed here as Vampire Hunter, even if it required parental permission. Scattered throughout the page are several 4-panel manga strips, offering humorous or observational commentary on diverse topics, from combining elements to school life, robots, and character interactions. Finally, there's a notice calling for illustrations for a Sakura Wars contest, with winning art potentially published in the magazine or a related fanbook. This page dives into the magazine's community engagement through several lively reader-submitted sections. The main feature, provocatively titled, I Hate Things Like This, serves as a platform for readers to voice their humorous complaints and critiques. Submissions here cover a range of topics, from magazine specifics like pricing issues, combined issues, and perceived biases towards certain reviewers or topics like Falcom games, to comments on game content itself, mentioning things like Gal's Panic-style covers, or titles like Crimson Seed. There's even a playful jab at the average reader age being 51. A distinct section is The Boys Forbidden After School Club, which seems to be a dedicated reader corner, possibly focused on a specific host or female readership. Submissions here often relate to contests, postcard entries, and include mentions of specific game types like gardening games, or references such as Flower of Lulu. Highlighting the magazine's strong community focus, the Still Accepting Submissions section lists a variety of ongoing reader corners. These include spaces for submitting illustrations, sharing confessions, discussing game purchases, submitting manga, expressing affection for game characters, building on the previous page's theme, and a Q&A section. The page is visually broken up by reader illustrations and short, often pointed, commentary, including an interesting aside referencing copyboards, hinting at the prevalent issue of game piracy at the time. It's evident this publication fostered a very interactive relationship with its readership. This page presents the Par Gallery, a vibrant section showcasing reader-submitted illustrations and messages. The theme is clearly festive, likely centered around New Year celebrations, with many characters depicted in traditional Japanese clothing. Readers from across Japan, including Fukuoka, Toyama, Wakayama, Aichi, Osaka, Chiba, Tokyo, Hokkaido, Niigata, and Miyagi, contribute their artwork, featuring diverse characters including Rei Ayanami from Evangelion, and potentially knights from Nights into Dreams, alongside original creations. This week's best entry is from Fukuoka Prefecture, praising the reader's initiative in creating a space for minor characters, which aligns with the magazine's ongoing Reader Corner theme from the previous page, focusing on affection for game characters. The next theme for submissions is announced as First Shrine Visit in Formal Wear and Coming-of-Age Ceremony, reinforcing the traditional Japanese celebratory focus. The information section outlines submission rules, emphasizing postcards and black ink drawings. Color is not accepted at this time. It also details a points system where published contributors earn points redeemable for prizes like book vouchers or SEGA Saturn software. Finally, a small box provides the submission address and excitedly announces the confirmed port of the SEGA Saturn game Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel, accompanied by a cute illustration featuring characters styled after Sagata Sanshiro. This page features a mail-order catalog from the Sega specialty store Santa, listing Sega Saturn, Mega Drive, and Game Gear software and hardware with prices. This page dives into the world of J-League Pro Soccer Club Tsukuru 2, offering a comprehensive guide titled Aim for the Strongest Club and How-To Lecture aimed specifically at newcomers. It breaks down the process of managing your club, starting with the practice system. The guide explains how to set your club's direction, choose formations and tactics, and allocate players effectively using the in-game interface and team strength graphs, which are shown in a screenshot. There's a Beginner's Worries Q&A section addressing common questions like building facilities and managing player relationships. The page also features a SATA Maga Club Growth Diary, Year 1, detailing the progress and challenges faced by a sample club during its first year, including transfers and injuries. Finally, a section titled SATA Maga, Other Magazine Matchup. What was the result? Reports on a special event where SEGA Saturn magazine staff competed against other publications in a tournament using the game. The page concludes with a photo of the participants playing. This is a great resource for anyone getting into the depth of Sakatsuku 2. Sega Enterprises, Limited, 1996-1997. The next page features a detailed club diagnosis section for J-League Pro Soccer Club Tsukuru 2. The Sega development team analyzes a readers club, Pantera Yokaichi, managed by Mr. Yasushi Nagumo from Sega Public Relations. The club initially aimed for a tactical European style like AC Milan or Juventus, but ended up with more South American players. Key stats are provided, including years past, funds, and facility levels. The diagnosis covers each position. The GK is reliable but needs backup. The defense is solid but the 3-back system is risky. The midfield, centered around Nagumo, could benefit from positional swaps and adding a partner for more varied attack. And the forwards have firepower but concerns exist about fouls and player synergy. The advice focuses on strengthening backup positions, adjusting midfielder roles, and improving forward cooperation. The club manager notes, setting the fantasy player Muratini as his dream. The page also announces the first SATA Maga Cup tournament for readers clubs, split into 10th and 20th year divisions, inviting players to test their management skills. There's a giveaway for the official Sakatsuku 2 strategy guide, packed with player data and secrets, and the opening of a reader corner called Viva Sakatsuku to gather feedback and ideas for the game. Brief trivia defines the counterattack tactic. The next page features a novelization based on the intense vertical shooter, Tsukyu Gurentai, known internationally as Crimson Skies. This is episode 22, titled Yoshida and the Arrogant Challenger, written by Yuichi Ishida and based on the original concept by the developer Raisinizing. The novel delves into the world of the Jinsei Star Company's private defense force, also called Tsukyu Gurentai, or JDF, who handled dangerous missions for clients, including military deployment. The story focuses on 3 key members: a pilot, Takuru Yatsuyubi, and Rika Kunimura, and the people around them, woven into an engaging sci-fi drama. A recap of the previous episode details an attack on Jinsei Star HQ by an unknown entity, the Black Egret, which is revealed to be connected to Yumi Hachiman and a former technician named Tarushima. After defending a Jinsei Star facility from a Yumi Hachiman machine, with unexpected aid from Yumi Hachiman itself, the truth emerges. Yumi Hachiman is exploiting Jinsei Star's Mars development efforts. The episode concludes with protagonists Yoshida, Kunimura, and later Mikatsuki departing Earth for Mars to confront this threat and destroy the facility. This page provides a compelling narrative continuation of the action-packed universe established in the game. This page continues the Crimson Skies novelization, picking up the story as the protagonist's journey to Mars. The narrative describes communication regarding the Mars facility and the pursuit of the rogue Yumi Hachiman unit. There's tension as deadlines are discussed, and the transport ship's hatch opens, launching a smaller, dark blue craft, presumably the protagonist's combat unit, in pursuit of Yumi Hachiman at high speed. The text highlights the chase and the tracking of Yumi Hachiman on radar. Below the novel excerpt are profiles for key characters and the Yumi Hachiman mecha itself. Kaoru Yatsuyubi is described as a JDF pilot flying the S.OQ series unit, noted for being beautiful, yet strangely silly. Ryuta Ashi is another JDF pilot, piloting the Murasaki Den, characterized as rough-looking but honest. Rika Kunimura is profiled as a capable JDF member, who works closely with Yoshida. Finally, the Yumi Hachiman is detailed as a spaceplane developed by Jinsei Star, originating from a frozen project and uniquely controlled by multiple human brains, serving as a test platform and pilot. This provides crucial context for the antagonist unit's nature and connection to the ongoing plot. This page continues the Crimson Skies novelization, following the protagonists on Mars. The text describes the desolate Martian landscape and the imposing Hachifuku plant, seen as an intrusion reflecting the self-serving interests of companies like Jinsei Star. Tensions are high, with hints of forced labor and hostages, as Yoshida contemplates the conflicting ideals of environmental preservation and humanity's need for development on Mars. Suddenly, missiles strike, targeting the plant, and 3 transport-like shadows emerge from the Hachifuku plant, scattering into the distance. Surprised by this turn of events, and the unexpected appearance of reinforcements, Yoshida questions their origin. Kunimura, in response to a shout to prevent their escape, launches the Huga mecha in pursuit. The accompanying illustration vividly depicts the Huga in flight, with characters in the cockpit reacting to the unfolding chase, highlighted by the radar display showing targets. The next page continues the Crimson Skies story from Mars. Kunimura, in the Huga, pursues the escaping transports. A missile strike occurs, and intense aerial combat begins, involving missiles and lasers. Dialogue reveals that Yoshida is piloting one of the transports, the Yuhachi, and surprisingly, they know each other. Yoshida's voice is digitized, and they exchange comments on their skills and machines during the high-speed chase and battle. Yoshida describes his Yuhachi as superior to the Tatsuryu model, while Kunimura in the Huga makes evasive maneuvers, narrowly avoiding attacks. The story, a message from the developer Racetizing, promotes the upcoming Saturn release of the arcade shooter Battle Garega. They highlight the game's intense BGM, which features both the original arcade sound source and a newly recorded version arranged by Manabu Namiki. Several other renowned composers from Arica and elsewhere contributed arrangements. Racetizing thanks players for their input regarding the Saturn version and states that development is proceeding smoothly. Finally, a small comment box features Yuichi Toyama, who names the music from the game F/A and the sounds of YMO and CMY as his favorites in gaming. This page is a mail-order catalog from Creative Human, listing a wide selection of SEGA Saturn games and some hardware accessories available for purchase. It provides contact details, business hours, and shipping information. The main section presents various upcoming and recent SEGA Saturn titles with their release dates and prices, often accompanied by small images or brief descriptions. You'll find games covering diverse genres, including adventure games like the sci-fi mystery Eve, The Lost One, and the visual novel Welcome to Pia Carrot, RPGs such as Baroque, and the classic Legend of Heroes IV, A Tear of Vermilion, strategy RPGs like Langrisser Dramatic Edition, and sequels to popular series such as Sakura Wars 2, Thou Shalt Not Die, and Super Robot Wars F Final Chapter. Fighting game fans are well catered for, with titles like The King of Fighters, 97, available with or without the required RAM cartridge, and Darkstalkers 3, while arcade ports like Battle Garega and The House of the Dead are also listed. Other notable entries include simulation games like Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team, sports titles like SEGA, Worldwide Soccer 98, and unique experiences like Burning Rangers. Many titles also offer special reservation bonuses like posters. Below the game listings, there's a section for ordering various SEGA Saturn hardware components and peripherals. The page concludes with instructions on how to place an order, mentioning mail or fax options, and noting that prices are subject to a 5% consumption tax. The next page features a column by cult manga artist Mashino Henmaru, who introduces himself and his work. He explains that his initial idea for a column topic, which was likely related to an erotic game idea, was unfortunately rejected due to censorship. Instead, the column delves into his humorous and often bizarre ideas for mental commands, the special abilities used in the popular Super Robot Wars series. He proposes commands like Rage, which multiplies damage, Emotion to increase willpower, and Melancholy, which decreases it. More unique suggestions include drinking urine to recover HP, full nudity to provoke enemies while increasing evasion but losing armor, and defecation to lower enemy willpower, though it affects allies too. The page also includes a drawing of a character wearing a bikini made from SEGA Saturn controllers and peripherals. Henmaru concludes by pondering that while his ideas are wild, the most practical real-world command is likely Cheer, a standard ability in Super Robot Wars that boosts experience. He also adds a plea for the quick release of the final chapter, referring to Super Robot Wars Final Chapter, a significant Saturn title. The bottom of the page provides a brief profile of the artist. This page features two columns. The first, titled Allegory by Fumio Kurokawa, is written as a fictional conversation between a game promoter and a magazine editor discussing the coverage of an upcoming cinematic RPG featuring 3 DCG movies. The promoter is eager for a feature article before release, touting the game's positive reception and the strong team behind its visuals, suggesting they are the same skilled group behind a previous successful project. The editor expresses hesitation, referencing a potentially critical previous column and the inherent tension between promotional interests and editorial independence. The column highlights the challenges faced by game promoters in getting favorable coverage, concluding that despite the promoter's efforts, the feature never materialized, raising questions about the future of the profession. The second column, Ikebukuro Sara's Virtua Crash by Toyohiko Yoshizumi, recounts his experiences at a Virtua Fighter 2 tournament in Yamanashi, detailing his and others' match records. He shares a personal note about getting sick afterward, but quickly returns to discussing the Virtua Fighter 2 scene, noting the prevalence of air combos, and finding the current state of competitive play exciting. However, he feels the scene might be winding down, and looks forward to the upcoming Fighting Vipers 2 tournaments. The column also includes a small piece about taking his son, Hirokun, to a children's center, accompanied by a photo of the boy playing the piano. An information box provides a website and contact details. This page presents the SEGA Saturn Software Databank, a comprehensive list of games released from November 22, 1994 through December 25, 1997. The page aims to provide a quick overview of the Saturn software library to help players choose games. The core content is a massive table listing games chronologically by release date. For each game, it provides the release date, title, developer, price, genre, average reader review score, the magazine's review score, and compatible peripherals or other notes. The reader scores are an average based on votes, while the magazine's score is a judgment from their reviewers. Notes indicate things like peripheral support, mouse, racing wheel, multi-controller, analog stick, or content warnings, like 18 for 18 plus. While listing every single entry is unnecessary, this databank covers a vast period, featuring early system-defining titles like Virtua Fighter and Myst, popular hits like Panzer Dragoon, Daytona USA, Virtua Cop, and Knights, and many other notable releases throughout the years, giving a snapshot of the console's diverse software library and how both readers and the magazine critically assess the games over its lifespan. The inclusion of reader feedback alongside official reviews provides a valuable perspective on the popularity and reception of each title. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Software Databank, listing games released primarily from late 1995 into early 1996. The comprehensive table provides key details for each title, including its release date, developer, price, genre, average reader score, the magazine's review score, and notes on peripheral compatibility or other relevant information. This section of the database showcases a wide variety of games that hit the Saturn during this busy period. You'll find iconic fighting games like Street Fighter Alpha and Darkstalkers, popular puzzle titles such as Magical Drop and Mischief Makers, and significant RPGs like Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner. Major Sega franchises are also represented with titles like Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Racing. The list highlights the console's diverse library, spanning genres from action and sports to simulations and adventures, giving readers a clear overview of the software landscape and how these games were perceived by the gaming community and the magazine's reviewers. This page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn software databank, presenting a detailed list of games released during a vibrant period for the console. The comprehensive table serves as an invaluable resource, providing data points such as release dates, publishers, genres, pricing, and crucially, both average reader review scores and the magazine's own critical ratings. Featured within this section are a wide variety of titles that hit the Saturn, showcasing the system's diverse library. You'll find acclaimed strategy RPGs like Dragon Force, the visually impressive rail shooter Panzer Dragoon Zwei, and popular fighting game entries such as The King of Fighters 95, Mortal Kombat 2 Complete Edition, and Fatal Fury 3, Road to Victory. The list also includes celebrated arcade conversions like Mega Man X3, Dodonpachi, Darius Gaiden, and Strikers 1945, alongside platformers like Gex and adventure games like Zorkai. Beyond these well-known names, the database highlights numerous Japanese exclusive titles spanning simulations, mahjong, and unique genres, illustrating the console's deep catalog and how these games were received by the Saturn community and the magazine's reviewers at the time. Compatibility notes indicate support for peripherals like the mouse or multitap for specific games. This page continues the comprehensive SEGA Saturn software databank, listing games from number 279 through 383. Covering releases mainly from May through October of 1996. The detailed table provides essential information for each title, including its release date, publisher, genre, price, average reader score, the magazine's own critical review score, and notes on peripheral compatibility. The list showcases a diverse range of titles released during this period. Prominent games featured include the iconic rail shooter Nights into Dreams, the critically acclaimed fighting game Virtua Fighter Kids, the intense Racer Destruction Derby, and the strategic RPG Dragon Force. The databank also covers other popular genres like puzzle games, sports simulations, action titles, and arcade ports, such as Strikers 1945 and Virtua Cop 2. This section provides a valuable overview of the Saturn's growing library in late 1996, reflecting both reader opinions and the magazine's perspective on the console's software output. Compatibility notes highlight support for peripherals like the mouse and various other accessories. This page continues the comprehensive SEGA Saturn software databank, picking up from where the previous section left off and covering game releases predominantly from November 1996 through January 1997. As an expert gamer, this is a vital resource for tracking the console's diverse library during a key period. The detailed databank lists games with their release dates, publishers, genres, prices, and crucially, provides both the average scores from readers and the magazine's own critical reviews. This allows for a fascinating comparison between public opinion and expert critique. Compatibility notes inform players which peripherals, such as the mouse, twin stick, multitap, or the RAM cartridge, are supported. Highlights from this section include major RPG releases like Lunar Silver Star Story, Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen, Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, and Shining the Holy Ark. Shooter fans saw titles like Sexy Parodius, Sengoku Blade, and the excellent compilation Panzer Dragoon Is and 2, alongside the popular Virtua Cop 2. The fighting genre was boosted by the fan-favorite Fighters Megamix and the arcade hit Virtua On, Cyber Troopers. Other notable games featured are the unique Christmas Nights into Dreams, the competitive Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, and classic compilations like Thunder Force Gold Pack 2 and Time Gal and Ninja Hayate. The inclusion of scores provides insight into how well these games were received by both the magazine's reviewers and its readership at the time. This page continues the comprehensive software databank, delving further into the SEGA Saturn's library from late 1996 and early 1997. It presents a wealth of information on each title, including the publisher, genre, price, and crucially, both reader and magazine review scores, along with compatibility notes for peripherals. As an expert, I can see this section highlights a significant period for the console, featuring major international releases like Tomb Raiders, Mega Man 8, Batman Forever, WWF in Your House, NBA Jam Extreme, Metal Slug, and Command & Conquer. It also showcases some strong Japanese titles, such as Sakura Wars, Neon Genesis, Evangelion, Manx TT Superbike, Puyo Puyo Sun, Bustamove 3, and the strategy RPG Legend of Heroes IV. The scores reveal a diverse reception. While some titles like Sakura Wars, Metal Slug, and Bustamove 3 garnered high praise from both readers and staff, others received mixed or considerably lower scores. This databank is invaluable for understanding the breadth of games available and how they were perceived at the time, from action hits and sports titles to simulations, puzzles, and unique Japanese adventures. This page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn software databank, presenting a detailed listing of games released from late 1996 through the summer of 1997. It acts as a vital resource, providing key information for each title, including the developer or publisher, price, genre classification, and importantly, both the reader review scores and the magazine's own review scores. Additionally, it notes compatibility with peripherals like the mouse or analog controller. As a deep dive into the console's library, this section showcases a blend of titles popular both domestically and internationally. You can find major releases like Tomb Raider, Virtua Fighter 2, Resident Evil, Nights into Dreams, Decathlete, and Saturn Bomberman listed here. It also features beloved Japanese series such as Sakura Wars, Puyo Puyo Sun, and Waku Waku 7. The scores offer a fascinating look at how these diverse games, spanning action, RPGs, puzzles, sports, and simulations, were perceived by the SEGA Saturn community and the magazine's reviewers at the time. The next page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn software databank, providing a comprehensive list of games with their key data points. You'll find a wide array of genres represented, from fighting games like Last Bronx, Marvel Superheroes, and the highly shredded Dead or Alive and Street Fighter collection, to puzzle classics such as Bustamove 3 and the incredibly popular Puyo Puyo Sun. Role-playing and simulation fans are also well catered for, with titles like Super Robot Wars, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, and J-League Pro Soccer Club, Wo Tsukuru 2 all receiving exceptionally strong scores from both readers and the magazine reviewers. The list also covers action games, shooters like Galactic Attack's Tribute, listed here as Layer Section 2, adventure titles, and even unique entries like Culdcept and Transport Tycoon. The scores provide a fascinating snapshot of how the console's diverse library was received by its dedicated player base. The next page presents a continuation of the SEGA Saturn software databank, serving as a comprehensive guide to games released for the console. This extensive table details titles released from late 1997 into early 1998, providing essential information such as the game number, release date, full title, manufacturer, price, genre, and crucially, both reader and magazine review scores. Compatibility notes, such as requirements for the 4 MB RAM expansion cartridge or age ratings, are also included. You'll find data on highly anticipated titles like X-Men vs. Street Fighter, known for requiring the 4 MB RAM cart and receiving exceptionally high scores from both readers and reviewers in the fighting game genre. The table also lists major RPGs, such as Grandia and Azel. Panzer Dragoon Saga, both earning strong praise and high scores, highlighting their significance in the Saturn's library. Other notable entries include Cotton 2, the atmospheric adventure game Uno, which garnered impressive scores, and the snowboarding title Zap! Snowboarding Tricks 98. This databank offers valuable insight into the reception and details of a wide variety of SEGA Saturn games released during this period. This guide explains how to complete the magazine's reader survey postcard. Instructions cover filling in personal details and requested present numbers on the front, and marking answers on the back, including using Arabic numerals. Readers are instructed to cut out the postcard along the dotted line. The survey itself covers demographics, gaming habits, SEGA Saturn software ownership, magazine subscriptions, and feedback on the current issue. Readers are asked to reference 3 tables. Table 1 lists articles to identify favorites. Table 2 lists hardware for ownership and purchase intentions. Table 3 lists software, with readers selecting up to 10 titles they plan to buy from a list including popular games like Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. This page presents a preview for Dragon Master Silk Gaiden, a unique, Shugoroku-style love-adventure game coming to the Sega Saturn. It shifts gears from the main Dragon Master Silk series, focusing on romantic interactions with 5 distinctive female characters within a board game format. The goal appears to be winning the hearts of these girls, with the game described as a 3-legged race adventure, where the strength of the bond is key. The page features images of the 5 potential love interests, alongside dialogue snippets, plus a central illustration of a girl in a school uniform on the game board path, accompanied by large dice and a gift box, hinting at the gameplay mechanics. It also includes 5 tips for getting her heart, suggesting strategic gameplay involving character personalities and interactions. Dragon Master Silk Gaiden from Datum Polystar was scheduled for release in February 1998, priced at 5,800 yen. This spin-off looks like a charming blend of board game progression and dating simulation, offering a different experience from the main RPG series. There's also a small note promoting the original Dragon Master Silk game. This page presents a promotional piece for Artworks Hokago Fan Club, described as a thank you gift from developer Libido to fans of the Hokago series, which features games in the love-adventure genre. The page showcases vibrant character illustrations, typical of the series, highlighting both close-ups and full character designs. While the main Artworks product itself is specified for Windows 95, scheduled for release on February 13, 1998, priced at 6,800 yen, the page includes a prominent note directed at Sega Saturn users. This note explains a special mail-in bonus offer: a photo CD containing voices and CGS from the Sega Saturn version of Hokago Renier Club. Fans can acquire this bonus by using an application form included with the Artworks package. The page also mentions other titles potentially related or included, such as Hokago 3D Club and Koisuru Toki. The tagline suggests this collection is a comprehensive or final compilation of visual and audio content for the series, focusing on the characters and their presence. This page is a character spotlight featuring Ayumu Inaba from the dating simulation game Hokago Renai Club, developed by Libido. A prominent illustration of Ayumu dominates the left side, complemented by several smaller images showing her in various outfits and poses, effectively showcasing the character's visual design. Text snippets appear to convey Ayumu's internal feelings or dialogue, indicating a focus on her deep thoughts about another person, which she considers a secret. The page also includes a character profile listing her school year and physical measurements. It credits the illustrator, known as Joyride, who handled the original art for the game. Additionally, the bottom of the page contains recruitment information for the developer Libido. This page is a special feature delving into the future of arcade CG games, centered around an interview with the legendary Yu Suzuki, head of Sega AM2. Coming 5 years after the revolution brought by Virtua Fighter on Sega's Model 1 board, the industry is eagerly anticipating the next evolution. This article highlights the excitement surrounding the latest groundbreaking titles showcased at the AOU show. The core of the piece is Yu Suzuki's thoughts on the next generation of CG, discussing how the focus is moving beyond just raw polygon counts and resolution. He touches upon the advancements in rendering, lighting effects, and the overall visual presentation achievable with hardware, like Sega's Model 3 Step 2. Screenshots from cutting-edge Sega arcade games, including a realistic racing title and an intense mech combat game, illustrate the impressive CG capabilities being discussed. Suzuki emphasizes that while hardware is advancing, the sense and effort of the creators remain paramount in making great games. He also touches on the broader trends in the industry, including the increasing importance of network gaming and the influence of SciAx as the 21st century approaches. This page continues the special feature on the next generation of arcade gaming, prominently showcasing Sega's upcoming hits from the AOU show. The focus is heavily on Cyber Troopers Virtualon Oratorio Tangram, hailed as the #1 highlight of the show and the most noteworthy title this spring. The article notes the game is nearly complete at 89.4% and runs on the powerful Model 3 Step 2 board, emphasizing its versus action gameplay. A brief comment from someone identified as Dr. Watari highlights the appeal of Virtualon Oratorio Tangram for players. Alongside this mech combat giant, the page features other major Sega titles like Sega Rally 2 and Fighting Vipers 2, rounding out a big feature on 3 raging works. The page questions if these arcade powerhouses, part of the impressive lineup of all 12 Sega machines gathered at the AOU show, are the hidden gems destined for Sega's next home console. Screenshots of all 3 featured games are displayed, showcasing the visual advancements. Cyber Troopers Virtual Oratorio Tangram introduces a revamped attack system, requiring players to learn new and modified techniques. The controller uses 2 levers, triggers for weapon firing, and a versatile turbo button. Core attacks include left, sub-weapon, center, powerful, energy-consuming, and right, main weapon, all depleting a recharge gauge. New features include crouching attacks, tilting levers inward and firing, for low shots, and dash-based attacks. The article stresses mastering these is crucial, highlighting the significant additions like new virtubioroids. A checkpoint advises patience, urging players to learn each element individually rather than focusing solely on winning. Screenshots demonstrate these various attacks. This document explores advanced combat in Cyber Troopers Virtual Oratorio Tangram, expanding on basic controls. It covers enhanced attack options like dash and jump attacks. Dash attacks trigger automatic lock-on attacks but leave the user vulnerable. Jump attacks are powerful but risky upon landing. New techniques include air dash attacks and forward dash melee attacks, the latter being a crucial skill for quickly closing distance and unleashing melee strikes. Turbo shots are upgraded with new variations, including an air turbo shot during jumps. Standard turbo shots offer stronger attacks, activated by combining trigger pulls with turbo button presses, resulting in multiple shot types. Screenshots illustrate these moves, featuring virtuoids like Temjin. Players are encouraged to try these techniques at the AOU show. This page focuses on the upcoming SEGA Rally 2, specifically reporting on the 70% complete version showcased at the AOU show. The article highlights how this version is a significant leap from the previous 40% build, describing it as almost a completely different game. A major new feature introduced is the name entry system. After selecting your car, you can enter your name, which will then be displayed on the side window of your vehicle, just like in real-life racing series. While not visible during gameplay, your name appears on the car during replays of your runs. Screenshots show the game selection screen with arcade, championship, and practice modes, the car selection featuring cars like the Corolla, Impreza, Lancer, and Stratos among the total of 6 available, and the name entry interface. The article expresses excitement about the name feature being visible in replays, making fast laps even more satisfying. The overall impression is that the game is shaping up well and nearing completion. This page reveals the full lineup of cars confirmed for SEGA Rally 2, bringing the total to 6 vehicles. Featured here are the Toyota Corolla WRC, known for its compact size and maneuverability, the Ford Escort WRC, highlighted for its strong performance and good control, and the dominant Subaru Impreza WRC97, celebrated for its consecutive championship wins. Also joining the roster are the nimble Peugeot 306 Maxi, a tarmac specialist, the iconic Lancia Stratos HF, beloved for its drift potential despite being 2-wheel drive, and making its debut in the game, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution V, presented as a significant upgrade over the previous Evo IV model. A short section includes comments from the AOU show, where the development team emphasizes their aim to surpass the original game, citing improvements in car variety, handling realism, and overall features as highlights they poured their passion into. This page confirms the final lineup of 4 courses for SEGA Rally 2. Following the discussion of the game's cars, the focus shifts to the tracks themselves. The development state for the courses was provisional for a time, but now the full list is set, offering significant variety. First up is the number 1 desert course, described as a high-speed track, where you can keep the throttle floored. It's mostly gravel, with some tarmac sections, featuring a wide layout and less complexity compared to the previous game's desert. Next is the number 2 mountain course, a challenging mountain track. While the start and finish are gravel, the majority is tarmac. It's noted for being narrow with numerous tight corners and hairpins, demanding precise control. The number 3 snowy course is the first of its kind in the SEGA Rally series. Set in a northern European-inspired forest, the road surface is snow-covered with varying depths, resulting in ultra-low grip. This course is designed to be exciting and heavily relies on skillful drift techniques. Finally, the number 4 Riviera is a high-difficulty city course reminiscent of Monaco. Entirely on tarmac, it feels like a gymkhana with tight corners placed close together. It requires a different drifting approach than the snowy course, and the reviewer even suggests the side brake might be essential here. The page highlights the distinct challenges and fun offered by each track. This page features a special report on SEGA Rally 2, showcasing the impressions of professional rally drivers Yoshio Fujimoto and Yoshihiro Kataoka after they test drove the current 70% complete version. Kataoka, who isn't typically a gamer, found himself becoming genuinely serious while playing, feeling a strong desire to master it. Fujimoto, who was involved as an advisor for SEGA Rally 1, believes SEGA Rally 2 is significantly better, highlighting the realistic handling, especially the nuanced feeling of switching between tarmac and gravel surfaces. They both agree the car's movement is very realistic, even if not a perfect simulation of a real rally car. Kataoka found the goal-setting challenge, like hitting target times, particularly enjoyable. The drivers also commented on the courses, appreciating the variety and details like undulations and water puddles, with Kataoka expressing confidence in the unique snowy stage. The page includes images of the drivers with the game cabinets and brief profiles detailing their rally careers. This page dives into the upcoming arcade fighting game, Fighting Vipers 2. Straight from the AOU show, it features an interview with sound director Hidenori Shoji, who discusses the game's new sound direction, moving towards a techno-rock style, and the challenges faced in creating specific sound effects like those for the Super KO. The main focus is on how to experience the game at the show, highlighting the new system features. We get a breakdown of the new ground recovery system, which allows for quick recovery upon hitting the ground to avoid follow-up attacks, and the special guard, an advanced defensive technique. The page also points out various changes to existing moves, showing how even familiar actions like crouch punches and rising kicks have been tweaked, adding new strategic layers. Screenshots throughout the page showcase the game's visuals and characters in action, demonstrating these new mechanics and move variations. It's clear Fighting Vipers 2 aims to build on its foundation with significant gameplay refinements. This page continues the deep dive into Fighting Vipers 2, focusing on several key new gameplay systems. We see how the game is addressing low attacks with a new guard and attack system, making reading your opponent's intentions crucial to counter them effectively. A significant addition is the Super K.O. system, powerful moves designed to finish rounds, while impactful. The director, Hiroshi Kataoka, explains in an interview that these are balanced by requiring specific conditions to use. He also discusses the game's development status, noting key changes since the location tests, particularly in the Super K.O. and overall game balance, which is still being refined. The page also highlights new offensive options, with the introduction of side throws and crouching low throws, adding strategic depth to getting close to your opponent. Complementing these are expanded throw escape mechanics, allowing players to defend against a wider variety of throws. Other new elements mentioned include aerial armor breaks and specific inputs for recovery. The overall message is that Fighting Vipers 2 is packed with new systems aimed at deepening the gameplay and strategy. This page features the arcade title, Ao Shoketch Taisen Tant R Sasusu, which translates roughly to versus Tant R one-on-one. This is a new entry in the popular Tant R minigame series, shifting the focus from multiplayer chaos to intense one-on-one battles. The core mechanic revolves around a unique betting money system. Players start with a set amount of money and bet on various minigames. Winning allows you to take money from your opponent, while losing costs you. The ultimate goal is to bankrupt your opponent to win the match, with losing all your money resulting in a game over. The betting amounts differ depending on the game, adding a strategic layer. Your character's outfit even changes based on how much money you have. Gameplay is kept simple, with intuitive one-lever, one-button controls, making it accessible for everyone from beginners to seasoned gamers. A wide variety of minigames are featured, spanning sports, action, puzzle genres, and more, including hockey, kart racing, a bomb game, and even a money-counting challenge. Comments from the developer team highlight the excitement generated by the betting system and the title's origin. They mention the game saw intense, sometimes chaotic, play during location tests, and are optimistic it will appeal to a wide audience, including casual players and women. The money-counting game, in particular, was noted for its popularity in testing, described as a thrilling battle of winning the change. This page features a look at upcoming arcade titles from other manufacturers, focusing on Namco's lineup. It highlights several exciting new games and sequels coming to arcades. First up is Guys, God Bless the Ring, a unique 3D fighting game developed in collaboration with Square, known for its interactive environments and the staff who previously worked on the Tobal series. The page shows intense combat screenshots. We also see Downhill Bikers, a competitive mountain bike racing game supporting up to 4 players, featuring dynamic downhill tracks. Hosadate Quiz. My Angel 3 is presented as the latest in a quiz game series, adding a new element of pet raising and collection alongside the trivia challenges. A major highlight is Time Crisis 2, the popular light gun shooter. The article specifically points out the long-awaited addition of 2-player cooperative play, made possible with special cabinets, and shows screenshots of the action. Finally, Panic Park is featured, described as a party action game's spiritual successor to Point Blank. Instead of light guns, players control characters with levers to compete in over 20 different minigames, promising fun and chaotic 2-player versus action. The page includes shots of the cabinet and various minigames. Overall, the feature emphasizes the diversity and innovation in Namco's arcade offerings. Upcoming arcade games from SNK, Taito, and Tecmo are previewed. SNK showcases Metal Slug 2, a run-and-gun action game with new characters and intense action. Real Bout Fatal Fury 2, The Newcomers, the latest fighting game entry. And Samurai Showdown 64, their first 3D fighter. Taito presents Densha de Go 2 Kusokuhen, a train simulation with high-speed lines, and Psychic Force 2012, a 3D arena fighter. Tecmo previews Dead or Alive++, a port of the Sega Saturn version featuring exclusive content, and Tecmo World Cup 98, a soccer game marking the series' polygonal debut. The next page previews upcoming arcade games from Konami, Capcom, Arika, and Kaneko, alongside information about the AOU Amusement Expo. Konami shows off Base Angler, a fishing simulation featuring a unique reel controller, and Battle Tryst, a fighting game highlighted as a particular favorite by the reviewer. Capcom presents Plasma Sword, Nightmare of Bilstein, the sequel to their 3D fighter, boasting improved visuals at 60 frames per second, and dynamic new techniques like the plasma field. Arika, in collaboration with Capcom, previews Street Fighter X2, the latest entry in the popular 3D fighting series, noted for its familiar 2D gameplay feel, and the unexpected return of characters like Blanca. Kaneko introduces SATURN, a traditional 1x-style shooting game focused on scoring, which is appreciated for catering to fans of the genre. The page also provides details for the AOU 1998 Amusement Expo, held at Makuhari Messe in February, an event open to the public on the second day, where many new arcade titles, including games like Treasure's Radiant Silvergun and Konami's Get Base, were on display. This page promotes the Imadio official book, Eve the Lost One character file. This is a character-setting book for the game Eve the Lost One, presented as the definitive edition and promising to unravel the secrets of the Eve series. A key feature highlighted is the inclusion of a demo crodrom, allowing readers to experience the gorgeous movies and play through the beginning of the game before its release. The artwork prominently features characters from the series, likely the main protagonists, including the iconic duo of Marina Hudu and Kojiru Tendu, alongside another female character. The book is scheduled for release on February 25th, for a tentative price of 1,280 yen. It was published by SoftBank. This page serves as an essential guide for SEGA Saturn enthusiasts, neatly divided into sections highlighting both recently released and upcoming software titles. It's designed to give players a quick rundown on the latest game situation, helping them plan their purchases. The new release title section covers games like Idle Mahjong Final Romance 4, tentative title, the horse racing simulator Winning Post 3, the competitive fighting game Psychic Force, and the historical simulation title Nobunaga's Ambition, Shousei Roku. The Coming Soon Soft section previews exciting titles slated for release soon, including the classic RPG Suikoden, the soccer game J-League Fire Striker, the adventure game Sweet Pie Adventure, Doki Doki Heart Nightmare, the mystery title code R, and the simulation game Tenant Wars. Dominating the lower half of the page is a charming illustration of a young girl in pajamas, holding a book, and a blue penguin plush. This character appears to be based on the protagonist from Jaleco's Kido Shinsengumi, Moyo Ken, likely included here as a promotional piece, given the Jaleco copyright displayed. The image adds a touch of personality to the page, perhaps hinting at the diverse range of software available on the Saturn, from intense fighters to more character-driven experiences. It's a solid overview for any Saturn owner looking to stay informed about the latest happenings on the console. This page dives deeper into two exciting releases for the Sega Saturn. First up is Idol Mahjong Final Romance 4, the latest entry in the popular Mahjong series where you challenge beautiful girls. It's been significantly revamped with animated finishing CGS and includes both a solid arcade port and brand new Saturn-exclusive modes like Free Match, where you can play against a selection of 11 characters, and a story mode focused on building relationships. The game promises high-quality visuals, fitting for the series, and is rated 85%. Below that is Winning Post 3, Koei's highly regarded horse racing simulation series. This installment lets you step into the shoes of an owner, managing and breeding horses with the ultimate goal of dominating the racing world. The system has been refined for better playability, increasing the number of races available both locally and internationally. A cool feature is the inclusion of 26 real-name jockeys, adding a layer of realism. You can even bring your nurtured horses to a special mode to race against friends. It's a detailed simulation rated at 70%. The next page jumps into a couple more anticipated Sega Saturn titles. At the top, we have Psychic Force, the second arcade fighting game hitting the systems. This isn't your typical fighter. It's a popular 3D action game known for its unique aerial combat set within a floating barrier and speedy battles. It promises to really grip fans with its distinct floating sensation. There's even a console-exclusive opening movie to look forward to, with the theme song performed by the legendary Hironobu Kageyama. It's looking polished at 85% completion. Below that is Nobunaga's Ambition, Shosei Roku, the latest definitive historical simulation entry in the long-running Nobunaga's Ambition series from Koei. This installment powers up both the system and graphics, letting you enjoy history from countless angles. You can manipulate famous historical figures and relive key events, even featuring powerful live-action movies to make the history feel more dramatic. The gameplay focuses on expanding your domain through diplomacy and deep, strategic battles. You can play as Nobunaga or many other lords, creating your own historical path. This deep simulation is 80% complete. The Sega Saturn version of the RPG Suikoden is nearing completion, slated for release on March 26 by Konami for 5,800 yen. This single-player game, recommended for all ages, is 80% complete. This version boasts an original movie exclusive to the Saturn, alongside various enhancements. Key additions include a new event with hidden companion episodes, a coliseum for battles, refreshed minigames, and refined dialogue. The game retains its classic party-based combat and features grand army battles. The story focuses on a protagonist, son of an empire general, who joins the Liberation Army to overthrow a corrupt empire, gathering 108 heroes. A new opening movie, with original artwork, sets the stage for the conflict. This Saturn port promises significant upgrades to the PlayStation original. This page dives into the early events of Suikoden, showcasing the dramatic opening sequences and introducing key characters and systems. It highlights two significant early scenes. The first scene details the protagonist's initial duties in the Imperial Guard, working alongside companions like Gremio, Cleo, and Byrne. It touches upon the growing discontent within the Empire, and the protagonist's first glimpse of its corruption. The second scene focuses on a mission that goes wrong, where the protagonist's best friend, Ted, is forced to reveal a hidden power to save the party from monsters. This attracts the attention of the sorceress Windy from the Imperial Court, who confronts Ted about the rune he possesses. In a pivotal moment, Cultid entrusts his rune, the powerful and cursed Soul Eater, to the protagonists, leading to their escape and the start of their long journey. The page also briefly explains two core gameplay systems: the rune system, where equipping runes allows characters to use magic, and the cooperative attack system, where specific pairs or groups of characters can perform powerful combined attacks based on their relationships, encouraging players to experiment with party composition among the 108 potential recruits. This page gives an overview of Konami's Sega Saturn football title, J.League Live Commentary, Flame Striker. The game is described as being easy to pick up, but offering significant depth, emphasizing that players can perform advanced techniques simply by mastering the X button. The preview walks through the steps before a match begins. First, choosing a team from the 17 J-League clubs or an original custom club. Second, setting the team's formation, allowing for detailed player positioning. And third, configuring attack and defense strategies, with options such as all-out attack, central breakthrough, counterattack, and defensive strategies like all-out defense, zone press, push-up, and offside trap. The reviewer highlights the game's success in capturing the fun of football through its simple controls, combined with the precise techniques enabled by the action button system. Creating custom clubs is also mentioned as a key feature, adding to the replayability. The page features screenshots showing gameplay during a match and a penalty kick, as well as menu screens for selecting teams, formations, and strategies. The game boasts 6 different modes, including Exhibition, J.League, Tournament, All-Star, PK Shootout, and Training, offering a variety of ways to play. J.League Live Commentary. Flame Striker offers extensive customization, enabling players to create original clubs and players. The article highlights building a unique club concept, using a zoo as the sponsor, and mandating animal-themed names for players. Players can be fully customized, adjusting appearance, abilities, speed, stamina, etc., and special characteristics. Real-life J.League players serve as stat benchmarks. Again, examples like Kikuchi Enosuke, monkey, and Shugawara Kokoro, small cat, are shown. Club creation covers team name, uniforms, and flags. Beyond stats, backstory options add personality. Players like Aitu Cheetah and Kamayama Kenjiro demonstrate how to build a team with memorable, animal-themed players, making the game's customization a standout feature. This page previews Doki Doki Nightmare, a new adventure game in the popular Tsuchipai series from Jaleco, set to release on February 26th for 6,800 yen and recommended for players aged 18 and over. The core concept revolves around encountering various unique and charming girls in the town of Jimbushu, described as a treasure trove of encounters. The article introduces several key characters, including Kyoko Misaki, who guides the player through the initial events. Gameplay on Monday involves meeting Kyoko at a game center and playing a minigame called Onigiri Ninpuchu, the result of which influences her impression and future game progression. Other characters highlighted are Sanae Yoko, shown in a maid-like outfit with scenes depicting her being surprised while gardening, and Sayuri Kawamoto, presented as a bunny girl at Usagi House, with the article specifically pointing out a close-up on her chest in one screenshot, confirming the game's fan service elements. The preview notes that character appearance scenes utilize true motion simulation and high-quality movies, reflecting the development staff's dedication to detail, a trait carried over from previous entries in the series. The manufacturer also mentions a bonus CD available with purchase. The next page continues the preview of Doki Doki Nightmare. The core gameplay loop is highlighted, emphasizing that conversation is key to winning the hearts of the girls. The game proceeds through days, starting with meeting different girls and building relationships through choices made during dialogue. However, the fun doesn't last. On the second day, a mysterious character named Rim appears. Rim is revealed to be a Lilim, a type of demon that seeks to put girls into eternal sleep. Your mission is to protect the girls from her grasp. The nightly battles against Rim take the form of a riddle minigame called Gusukapi. You must answer her questions correctly within a time limit. Winning these riddle battles allows you to save the girl she targets, while losing results in the girl falling into eternal sleep, and even the player being put to sleep. The page showcases the riddle interface and the win/loss outcomes. Beyond the main loop, the game features unique, sometimes risque, event scenes presented with high-quality movies, adding personality and depth, and fan service, naturally, to the interactions. The ultimate goal is to protect the girls from Rim and potentially achieve a romantic outcome with your favorite on the final day. Success depends entirely on the player's skill in navigating conversations and the riddle battles. This page introduces Code R, a unique entry in the SEGA Saturn library, combining the racing genre with adventure elements. Developed by Quintet, a studio known for RPGs, this game is shown to be 79% complete and slated for a spring 1998 release at a price of 6,800 yen. The core concept revolves around a story woven by distinct characters, integrated with a full-fledged racing experience. The page features screenshots showcasing various racing perspectives, from cockpit view to external car shots, as well as environmental graphics. Character profiles for 2 key figures are presented. Hiroshi Sakai, the protagonist's longtime friend who provides information and works part-time at a gas station, and Fujihiko Aoki, a rival who aims to be a professional racer. An intriguing illustration of a female character is also featured, suggesting the importance of relationships within the adventure portion of the game. The content highlights the fusion of racing gameplay with story events and character interactions as a key selling point, It's a single-player experience recommended for all ages. This page dives deeper into the unique blend of adventure and racing found in Code R. It highlights how the two core parts of the game are deeply interconnected. Success in racing rivals by demonstrating skillful artistic driving earns points and increases the protagonist's notoriety, which in turn fosters closer relationships with characters and unlocks new story events and races. The adventure part features significant character interactions, including potential dating events, adding layers beyond the racing. The racing itself isn't just about speed. The game emphasizes stylistic driving. Techniques like precise cornering and beautiful drifting are rewarded with points, while crashes deduct from your score. This artistic approach influences the story progression. The replay mode is also enhanced, incorporating cutscenes showing the reactions of rivals and spectators during the race, creating a more dramatic and engaging viewing experience than standard replays. The presentation is rich with graphics and dialogue, making the rivals' reactions particularly entertaining. This page features the Sega Saturn title, Tenant Wars, a board game released by Kid on February 11, 1998, for 5,800 yen. It fully supports the multi-terminal 6 for up to 6 players and is recommended for all ages. The game is a hot and cool board game where players roll dice to move around the map, aiming to open their own shops, gain tenants, and increase their assets while avoiding bankruptcy. The first player to reach a target asset value becomes the ultimate tenant owner and wins. There are 2 main modes available. Tournament mode is a single-player experience where you play against 3 computer opponents, following a story that adds a different atmosphere to the game. Cute character dialogue scenes are exclusive to this mode. Free play mode is the core multiplayer experience, supporting up to 6 players. You can include computer opponents if you have fewer human participants. This mode is where the main fun lies, with heated battles over assets. Players can choose from 8 different maps, each with varying numbers of floors and tenants, offering unique designs and playtimes. A unique selling point highlighted is the inclusion of 11 types of real-life shops that appear in the game. These shops are featured with the cooperation of their real-world counterparts, meaning their logos and designs are authentically recreated in the game. The screenshots show various colorful characters, the game board layout, and an in-game building featuring prominent real-life shop fronts. In Tenant Wars, the goal is to amass wealth and dominate the board through strategic asset acquisition. Players navigate the map by rolling dice and landing on various spaces. Landing on an opponent's space can force purchases or even a buyout. Banks provide salaries, while tenant spaces allow store purchases, dependent on available funds. Owning stores requires inventory management, stocking goods, and expansion on adjacent tenant spaces, which increases store size, sales, and the range of stock. Cards and shopping offer point accumulation, redeemable at the bank for advantageous events. The game screen displays key information: current location, time, asset goals, inventory capacity, lowest prices, a minimap, cash, and total assets, creating a comprehensive view of the player's progress. This page features the SEGA Saturn magazine logo prominently at the top, highlighting an issue that includes an attached Kleindrom. The issue is priced at a fixed 580 yen and was released on February 20th. Which is stated as a Friday. The main attraction is the included demo disc, specifically featuring an exclusive trial version of Burning Rangers. The text emphasizes that this demo allows players to experience the game before its full release, and that its enjoyment can only be understood by playing it. Additionally, a special report section lists other notable games featured, which include Super Robot Wars, F Final Chapter, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel, Even the Lost One, and Vampire Savior, known internationally as Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge, or Darkstalkers 3. The artwork showcases the main characters from Burning Rangers, set against a futuristic backdrop. This page is the introductory cover for a special feature titled, The SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide. It's presented as a comprehensive strategy guide for SEGA Saturn software that has already been released, aiming to help players fully explore and enjoy the games. The artwork dominantly features a Shalzel and a dragon from the epic role-playing game Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is clearly the headline title for this guide. The contents section lists several notable games covered, including the aforementioned Panzer Dragoon Saga, the visual novel Mashai, the game Solo Crisis, the first part of the tactical RPG Shining Force 2 Eyes Scenario 1, and the fighting game Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. This section appears to be a significant resource for players seeking detailed information on these popular Saturn titles from 1998. This guide focuses on the initial areas of Panzer Dragoon Saga, the excavation site, and the valley. It provides detailed maps and screenshots showcasing the player's dragon traversing these environments and engaging in combat. These introductory areas are designed to familiarize players with dragon control and the combat system. The paths are mostly linear, with some caves and pitfalls to navigate. Early enemies like Cruel and Shavabli serve as practice targets. The guide also includes an enemy data section, detailing the aggressive creatures encountered in the early game. Profiles cover enemies like Cruel, Trakhal, Shavabli, and the boss Bamos. Each profile includes attack information, dropped items, and tactical advice. For instance, Bamos, found at the valley's deepest point, has a weak point on its back, with the guide recommending focused attacks there after its body slam attack stuns it. This page continues the guide for Panzer Dragoon Saga, moving into the challenging Geril Desert area, which includes the Worm area, Blue Ruins, and Emerald Oasis. While the terrain here is described as straightforward, the key challenge lies in the enemy encounters, particularly the formidable Zosur and the various forms of Haiga. The guide highlights a secret feature. Using save data from Panzer Dragoon Zwei can unlock a sound unit item, which allows you to listen to an arranged version of the Zwei theme music at camps. The enemy profiles detail creatures encountered in the desert. Zosur is noted for its high attack power, requiring careful combat, and its weak point is on its head. The Haiga lineage is complex, appearing in larval, mobile, defense, and perfect forms. The larval form is weak, but transforms into the mobile form after consuming a Haishu creature. Different forms require different tactics. For instance, the defense form guards its head, making attacks from the rear necessary, while the perfect form boasts significantly increased stats, but still has a weak point on the head that, if targeted effectively, can lead to a relatively quick victory. Mastering the tactics for these specific enemies is crucial for progressing through the Geril Desert. This page continues the guide for Panzer Dragoon Saga, focusing on the narrative progression and the challenging areas encountered after the events on the Cradle. The story section highlights the evolving dynamic between Edge and Akazel. Following the crash of Edge's dragon, the two are forced to cooperate to escape the Uru underground ruins. Despite their initial differing views, their time together begins to soften Afazel's cold demeanor, hinting at a deepening bond. Navigating the Uru underground ruins is relatively straightforward, with enemies here being less formidable than Adezel's warning suggested. Players will use a float vehicle to traverse the area, though some items cannot be destroyed by its laser, requiring careful exploration. A notable discovery within the ruins is the Room of Failures, containing prototype dragons and revealing that the aggressive creatures were constructs of the Old World civilization. The guide then details challenging battles. The second encounter with the Adsanim dragon is significantly tougher. Players must first destroy the floating objects surrounding the dragon before targeting its tail, which remains its weak point. Strategic use of defensive and offensive stances is crucial. Enemy profiles in the ruins include Tarmelin and Delmelin, creatures that absorb energy attacks and become stronger as they change form. Tampro is another enemy, and the guide points out that attacking its tail allows for counterattacks. This tactic is specifically useful in the large underground dome battle against Tamris and Tampro, where using Tampro's counterattack is key to damaging the ceiling-dwelling Tamris. Following the Uru underground ruins, the guide details Edge and Adezel's growing bond, solidified during an elevator conversation. Their reunion after separation leads to a pivotal battle against Atazium, enabling your dragon's third evolution. Next, Edge reaches Zoa, where he meets Bayman, Periot's father. Bayman enlists Edge's aid against the Empire and hints at a city legacy. Periot also expresses interest in Edge's dragon. The guide then focuses on the Imperial Airborne Fleet garrison base. This area showcases the Empire's overwhelming strength, featuring challenging battles against former bosses like the aerial battleship Varma and the large battleship Nakara, alongside other Imperial weaponry. Players can acquire valuable items from a Varma transport ship to aid in these fierce encounters. This page focuses on a guide for the SEGA Saturn sound novel, Machi, presented as a Chinchikoru SOS response for players navigating the game 3 weeks after release. This article provides a detailed breakdown of the first day and the first half of the second day. It's specifically designed to help players discover and collect the various bad endings within this time frame, highlighting the game's branching narrative structure. The guide delves into the events of key characters, prominently featuring Reinomiya Keba's storyline during the second day. It touches upon the dramatic events he faces, including the bombing and his subsequent capture and release. A table lists multiple bad ends encounterable within the covered period, indicating the time, a brief description of the event, like being fired or failing a task, and the trigger. This serves as a quick reference for players aiming for 100% completion. The section labeled "To be continued" previews the next steps in the guide, detailing specific times and locations for Kiba's continuing story, such as a scene at the game center, and also hints at content related to other characters like Ushikeba. The guide emphasizes that actor interviews are also a highly recommended read, although they are not included on this specific page. This page continues the comprehensive guide for the Sega Saturn sound novel, Machi. Picking up from the previous day's coverage, it primarily details the second day's events for two key characters, Keiba Rainomiya and Masami Ushi, focusing on pathways leading to various bad ends. For Keiba Rainomiya, the guide covers his dramatic second day, including bad end number 31, which occurs when his name is mentioned on a wide show, leading to being discovered by Sumiji, and a bad end. Screenshots depict his shocked reaction, a desperate escape attempt on a motorcycle, and an encounter with a young girl. The prominent text below his section reads, "Self-incrimination, self-incrimination. No, that's wrong. I didn't do any robbery." The guide also covers Masami Ushi's storyline on the second day, featuring bad end number 28. This bad end involves Michiharu reacting violently with a knife at 1:50 p.m. due to Ushi's attitude, which can be avoided if Mariko intervenes skillfully during their conversation. Screenshots show Ushi reading a book, an intense confrontation at the hotel, and a fight scene where Gumman punches Ushi. Below her section, large text proclaims, "A man has his pride. If he loses that, he's not a man." Both character sections have a "to be continued" preview, hinting at future events like Rainomiya being involved with a detective at 2:10 p.m., and Ushi's story continuing. This guide is clearly designed to help players navigate the game's intricate narrative and uncover all possible endings. This guide dissects the sound novel Machi, focusing on character storylines and bad ends. Ryuji Takamine's Day 2 sees him homeless, leading to bad end number 30, where he is falsely informed of his family's ruin. His Day 1 resulted in arrest. Bad end number 19. Bunsho Ichikawa's Day 1 includes bad end number 9, Sleepy Death, and Day 2, where he faces bad end number 32, being attacked by a killer orange tied to a bike accident. His story highlights a repetitive cycle of events. Kyoko Hosoi has multiple Day 1 bad ends, number 3, Marriage, and number 18, Becoming a Drama Lead. Her Day 2 focuses on dieting, leading to bad end number 29, a truck accident, potentially influenced by the main character. The text hints at her struggles and Kairu's influence. This page continues the guide for the sound novel Machi, delving into the paths of two more characters. First up is Masashi Shinoda, described here as good-natured but weak. His section covers his Day 2, highlighting interactions with Nanes and a crucial evaluation point on Thursday. The guide details potential bad ends for both Day 1 and Day 2, along with Suzuku points indicating where his story can lead via zap triggers. Several screenshots show scenes from his narrative. Next is Yuhei Tobisawa, a high school student facing an incredibly complex Day 2. A girl claims she's pregnant with his child, and he also runs into his former lover. The text notes he's shouldering the burden of two families, asking how the student will cope. Like Masashi, his guide lists Day 1 and Day 2 bad ends and Suzuku events, including a specific mention of bad end number 41. Screenshots depict moments from his challenging storyline, illustrating the dramatic situations players will encounter in Machi. This page features an interview with actress Makiko Kuno, who plays the leader of the Sunday group in the game Machi. The article is part of a series introducing the actors and actresses appearing in the game. Kuno discusses the filming process for Machi, noting the thick script and storyboard-like format, which felt like stepping into the world of a manga or comic. She recounts how enjoying herself and showing extreme facial expressions were sometimes encouraged. She reflects on her role as the Sunday leader, finding it enjoyable to lead the group, and feeling comfortable in the part. When asked about her hobbies, Kuno reveals she enjoys sports, particularly triathlons, long-distance cycling, up to 150 kilometers, and running marathons, completing a full marathon. She mentions recently participating in smaller marathons. Regarding her work since filming Machi, Kuno mentions appearing in dramas like Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner, where she played a character possessed by a demon, and various roles as a mother. She expresses a desire to constantly evolve in her acting career. The page includes a profile section listing her basic information, hobbies, and notable appearances in dramas and films, including Oishinbo, Shokuba, and Gokudo no Tachi. It also highlights her work in commercials and as a reporter. The article notes that while her character in the game is a mysterious beauty, in person she is very cheerful and friendly. Multiple photos of Makiko Kuno are featured, including headshots and a shot with other actors. This page continues the series of interviews with actors appearing in the game Machi. Featured here are Ayumi Taniguchi, who played the part-time worker Kaoru Akiyama, and Kuta Kusano, who played Masashi Shinoda. Ayumi Taniguchi found filming Machi enjoyable, especially as she enjoys having her picture taken. She describes her character as having good style, though she is quite small in person. She likes simple games, and is looking forward to appearing in games again if the opportunity arises. She mentions playing Galaga recently. Photos show her in casual attire and promotional shots related to her role in the game, including one seemingly taken at a Tower record store. Kauta Kusano discusses filming scenes for Matachi throughout Shibuya. He mentions that the directing for the scene where his character Masashi Shinoda appears unreliable was particularly meticulous, and he found the detailed storyboards fascinating. He notes that unlike drama or film, they performed scenes right in front of the camera without synthesis, which was a unique experience. Kusano admits he hasn't played games since he was a child but is now interested in trying them. His photos include headshots and shots from the game itself. He asks readers to enjoy the story of a young man's growth. There is also a reader submission section asking fans to write in with their favorite Machi actors and roles. This page focuses on the strategy guide for the simulation RPG Solo Crisis, covering essential tips up to the challenging stage 11. It notes that the walkthrough series is concluding here, encouraging players to tackle the remaining stages themselves using the provided advice. The article highlights the game's high degree of freedom, particularly in class changes, and suggests diverse strategies for players to enjoy. It specifically details the effectiveness of characters like Milka, the mage, and Yarad, the warrior, who have progressed to master class, noting their increased mobility and range, making them valuable assets for future stages. A table lists various party members and their jobs/classes, including characters like Yashua the instructor, Samson the warrior, and others in roles like engineer, priest, and archer, with some having reached expert or master class. The guide provides a detailed breakdown of Stage 9, a map largely covered by forest, with a single passable path blocked by rocks. It warns that monsters appear from a barrier gate, created by barrier stones by the third turn, and advises preparing fortifications to defend against them. Specific strategy points A, B, and C are illustrated with screenshots, showing various combat scenarios and map locations. The article offers advice on quickly destroying barrier gates, using SP, and handling challenging terrain like wetlands. It also touches upon how monsters target buildings like shrines during earthquakes. Players are advised to lure enemy leaders close before engaging to maximize their advantage. This page continues the Solo Crisis Strategy Guide, covering the challenging stages 10 and 11. Stage 10, titled, Again, the Fear of Submersion, shares terrain characteristics with Stage 8, but is a difficult snowy plain where movement and construction are tough. The enemy aims to melt the snow and flood the map. The guide emphasizes building levees to prevent this flood, and stopping the monster's advance to create an opening to attack the archdemon directly with Yashua. Successful defense and a swift attack on the archdemon lead to victory, as the disruptive monsters cannot stop this final push. Screenshots illustrate the snowy plain, a defensive setup with a levee, defending the SP source, and Yashua attacking the archdemon. Stage 11 is described as the most difficult so far, an earthquake hell stage, characterized by a vast SP difference favoring the enemy, zero friendly buildings, and challenging desert terrain, where earthquakes constantly destroy structures. The strategy here is centered on monster guidance and endurance. It's a grueling stage where building is difficult and structures are quickly destroyed. The guide advises focusing on luring monsters away from crucial points, and using endurance to survive the relentless attacks and environmental hazards like earthquakes. Screenshots show the difficult desert terrain, buildings being destroyed, monster luring tactics, and the final confrontation with enemy leaders like Serain and Mirka, noting a two birds with Perone stone tactic involving attacking the archdemon and enemy leaders simultaneously. This guide covers Chapter 5 of Shining Force 2, focusing on the journey to the Tower of Observer. It details the critical preparatory steps after liberating Fraggeruld. Players should utilize the blacksmith in Fraggeruld to obtain powerful weapons with special skills. The guide includes maps and shop listings for Fraggeruld, highlighting the element sword in the Great Hall. The guide then moves to the Fraggeruld North Mountain Road, where players must defeat the heretic boss. Strategic positioning near specific trees can prevent enemy reinforcements from spawning. The boss fight rewards players with the Magma Grab, a strong fist weapon. Finally, the guide introduces Frank, the Wolf Baron, a powerful melee unit. The guide also briefly touches on the Confuse status effect. This Shining Force 3 guide covers Observer's Village, Ruins Researchers, and the Tower of Observer. The village map highlights shops and character-specific locations. The weapon shop carries items like the Master Rapier. The guide details Tower of Observer enemies, masked heretics, Cerberus, etc. Key items found within include the goddesses Terror, Gale Lance, and Wand of Caritas. It also notes story events concerning Balshisis. Crucially, inspecting a pillar allows you to recruit Hagane, a powerful ninja. The guide concludes with crafting information for cursed weapons. These powerful weapons provide significant stats and special skills, but carry curses, requiring church visits to unequip them, and potentially inflicting negative effects on the wearer. Crafting costs and mechanics are also provided. This page from the Real Bout Fatal Fury Special Guide focuses on 4 key characters: Tung Fu Ru, Lawrence Blood, Wolfgang Krauser, and Geese Howard, detailing their playstyles, anti-air options, basic combos, and strategic tips. Tung Fu Ru is described as having solid movement despite his short reach, excelling at keeping distance and punishing opponents. Jump attacks are noted as effective, but players are warned about potential counterattacks when rushing in. Lawrence Blood specializes in pressuring opponents and is strong at converting mid-range opportunities into close combat. His rush attacks and powerful combos are highlighted. The Blood Spin special move is a core part of his strategy, particularly when used with line shifts. Wolfgang Krauser is presented as a stable character, with good reach from special moves, preferring to control the distance. While his special moves are reliable, close-range combat is slightly more challenging for him. The Leg Tomahawk and Kaiser Wave are key tools for zoning and follow-ups. Finally, Geese Howard is the master of overwhelming rushdown offense. His effective use of special moves like Evil Smasher and Gale Slash allows for relentless pressure and sharp mid-range combos. The guide recommends frequent use of Evil Smashers due to its safety, and notes the Lightning Gauha throw as a strong finishing move. Each character section includes a small screenshot demonstrating gameplay. This guide section analyzes 4 characters from Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. Andy Bogard utilizes a versatile offensive and defensive style, with the Shoryudan as a key anti-air and combo finisher. Blue Mary excels at adaptable play, focusing on throws to close distance. Her quick swerve is a strong evasive and combo tool. Billy Kane controls space with normal attacks, favoring mid to long-range combat, using his jump comm effectively. Tung Fu Ru emphasizes defense, leveraging long-reach normals and punishing openings with combos. His anti-air is a simple C button press. Each character's basic combos and key moves are also described, offering insight into their playstyles. This page features announcements for upcoming official guidebooks for 2 exciting games. First up is the SEGA official exclusive guide for Winter Heat on the SEGA Saturn. This guide promises complete strategies for all 11 events in the game. It also includes thorough character-specific tactics, covering their strengths and weaknesses in different events, reveals hidden characters and various secrets, and features beautiful CG artwork and setting materials. The guide is a 5-size, 80 full-color pages, and scheduled for release in late February with a retail price of 900 yen. Below that, we have the school guide for Capcom's anticipated arcade game, Rival Schools, United by Fate. This guide offers a fun and detailed look at the game, with close-ups on each school and character profiles, diving deep into intricate settings that fans will appreciate. It thoroughly explains the charming characters, their special moves, combos, and unique systems like the Complete Burning Attack and the Team-Up Attack. The book also includes interviews with the development staff and other bonus content. This guide is a 5-size, 144 pages, and scheduled for release in early March with a retail price of 1,300 yen. Ordering information is also provided, detailing how to purchase the guide through bookstores or direct order. This page is the Satamaga Forum Volume 8, a section dedicated to reader contributions and feedback. It opens by thanking fans for their postcards and stating the forum continues even after the main storyline of the magazine's content. This week's cover pinup features fan art titled Full Moon from Hiro Umezawa, depicting characters from the Megami Tensei series enjoying a quiet tea party under a full moon in the demon world, captured with a CG feel. The VR Art Museum showcases fan art of supporting characters. This week highlights notable secondary figures, with many pieces featuring characters from Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, such as the popular Carol J, Kyosuke, Victor, and Atomu Nishi, demonstrating the depth of fan appreciation for the game's cast. This week's Devil card presents an entry for Lin Side, a demon from the Megami Tensei universe, described as a beautiful fairy from Irish folklore. In the Megaton conference room, a reader asks about the number of trading cards included with Soul Hackers. The reply confirms there are 181 types in total, with 180 available normally, and the Siegfried card included with the game, noting their popularity and quick sellout, and encourages rule questions from readers. Finally, the VR Boutique section features Lunch from Soul Hackers as this week's model, commenting on his rising popularity and distinctive look. The Postcards Wanted section provides updated mailing information for submitting contributions, featuring charming character art from the Game Junks. This page continues the compelling narrative of Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, presented here like an ongoing novel excerpt. A large illustration on the left depicts a character seemingly deep in thought, while smaller images on the right and bottom offer glimpses of scenes or atmospheric visuals related to the story. The text columns unfold the ongoing plot, following the protagonist and characters like Ruby, Aya, Suzume, and Kitsune as they navigate the mysteries of Paradigm X and the Neural Tower. Dialogue and descriptions detail events, potentially involving Malchut's trials and enigmatic dreams. A summary section at the bottom left provides context from previous events, confirming the story involves the protagonist, referred to as IGU, receiving mysterious discs and investigating why people are going mad. This segment highlights the protagonist's role as a hacker, tasked with analyzing these strange phenomena within their office. The page serves as a captivating continuation of the game's dark and intriguing story, visually supported by evocative artwork. This page shifts focus to the enigmatic world of Baroque, presenting Baroquism Syndrome, Baroque Filled Up Pointing Triangle Prequel Volume 12, The Town Where God Screams Echo. Rather than a game walkthrough, this section is a narrative excerpt, seemingly a novelization, delving into the lore and atmosphere of the game's universe. The text details a journey through a strange, dangerous town, featuring the protagonist, I, and a character named Ruby. They navigate hazardous areas, encountering peculiar situations and dialogue that hint at the game's dark themes and the prevalence of anomalies or monsters. The story involves navigating a special district, dealing with bizarre security measures, and reacting to the unsettling environments. Supplementary text at the bottom clarifies that this is indeed a novelization based on the concept by Mikitsu Kazari, intended to expand the Baroque world setting. It describes the prequel story and its connection to the original RPG, where the world is plagued by anomalies and people are transformed by warped thoughts. This page features the Imadio official fan page, now in its second installment. It introduces Imadio as a team of 5 creators known for making memorable games like Desire, Multilancer, Kaitu Ranma, and Eve. The main section, playfully titled Imadio-kun's Things That Can't Be Said in Game Magazines, includes photos and profiles of 2 key figures. Horiguchi, the PR manager who previously worked on an SFC title and is now handling PR for another game, and Takahashi, who was involved with Atelier Marie, the alchemist of Salzburg and debugging Doom. The page includes dialogue between them discussing game images, characters like Kojiru and Snake, and adding effects on a Mac. A notable scoop reveals that the tragic character Nikaido from a previous game will make an appearance in Eve the Lost One, with details about his backstory found in the upcoming prologue of Lost One interviews and trial cadram. Horiguchi wraps up by asking fans for ideas for future pages. This page continues the Imadio official fan page and dives deep into the world of Eve. The main focus is the second round of the Who is Snake mystery quiz for Eve 2, challenging players to deduce the identity of the enigmatic protagonist. The page emphasizes that the process of reasoning is more important than just the correct answer, discussing potential candidates like Ilka Marble, and offering insights from the staff. The deadline for this round is February 12th, with one lucky person winning a store promotional video for EVE, The Lost One. There's also a dedicated section for EVE terminology, providing context for the series, touching upon the evolution of gaming hardware from the Mark II to the Saturn, and how the EVE series fits into this history, explaining key concepts. Additionally, the page includes a call for fan mail, asking readers to share stories and thoughts, particularly focusing on things that make them laugh and things that don't, with a chance to win a flyer for EVE 2. Finally, the editorial department announces the upcoming release of the Prologue of Lost One book from SoftBank on February 25th, priced at 1,280 yen. This book is highly recommended for fans, tying into the expanded lore and backstories hinted at previously. This page previews the upcoming Sakura Wars 2 by focusing on events preceding its release. It highlights the Imperial Combat Review Capital broadcast, detailing story elements from before the game. The second episode of The Gorgeous Blooming Cherry Blossoms OVA, The Flower of the Cherry Blossom, Released Like a Divine Sword, is slated for a February 25th release. The content describes the formal launch of the Imperial Combat Review in spring 1922, after rigorous preparations, including Admiral Yoneda's strict training regimen, focused on performance and acting to enhance members' spirit energy and mask their true purpose. The page also introduces the review's impressive weaponry, including the Reijin Maru land battleship and the airships Kuran Maru and Mikasa. Key characters are shown in formal attire. The page concludes with excitement for Sakura Wars 2 and suggests the OVA to fill in story gaps. This page provides a recap of the highlights from the first act of Sakura Wars 2. It sets the scene in the vibrant Taisho-era Tokyo, a mix of steam-powered technology and westernization, but under threat from malevolent entities known as Kuma. To combat this, Admiral Yoneda formed the Imperial Combat Review's Flower Division, recruiting young women with strong spirit power to pilot Kubu mechs. Key early recruits are mentioned, including Sakura and Oriheim. The page details specific early events, such as Sulimayer's unexpected encounter with Akuma at the Kanzaki family residence, showcasing her readiness to fight despite being caught off guard. It also highlights the immediate and intense conflict between Sulimayer and Kana upon Kana joining the Flower Division, emphasizing their clashing personalities, which provide much of the early act's friction. Beyond the personal struggles, a darker plot unfolds, with incidents targeting Tokyo, introducing the enigmatic antagonist, Akane Satan. Meanwhile, Sakura's personal journey is featured, focusing on her rigorous training in the Hokushin Itoryu style to inherit its ultimate technique. The page mentions the ceremonial scroll containing the technique is mysteriously blank, hinting at a deeper challenge for Sakura as she strives to master her abilities and prove her worth. This page of Zoom In Elf, the 8th installment, features updates and content from the developer Elf. The main section, presented as a diary by voice actress Kimiko Furuyama, discusses her thoughts, particularly around Valentine's Day. She mentions being excited to receive chocolate and imagines a character, likely Yuno, making homemade chocolate. Following this, there's a special Valentine's Day giveaway, where fans can win telecards, signed by Kimiko Furuyama. Another significant portion is dedicated to the visual novel Yuno, a girl who chants love at the boundary of this world, encouraging players who have completed the game to seek out the true ending, which is described as bringing further emotional depth and being specifically designed for players who have cleared the main story paths. A branching map is included, visually representing the different routes players can take, leading to various endings, marked with letters A, B, and C, corresponding to the character routes for Kana, Mio, and Ayumi respectively. The page concludes with a general message board and a call for reader mail. The next page kicks off a digital camera introduction course, serving as the first installment in a bi-weekly serialization. The article, penned by multimedia writer Kazutoshi Otani, dives into the fundamental concepts of digital photography, starting with the basics like how light enters the camera through the lens and is recorded onto a CCD, contrasting it with traditional film. It explains key lens specifications such as focal length, discussing how it affects the field of view, and how digital camera focal lengths are often expressed as their 35mm film equivalent. The piece also touches upon aperture, f-stop, explaining how a smaller number indicates a brighter lens and allows for faster shutter speeds, helping to prevent blur. Diagrams are included to illustrate the lens's function and how it captures images. There are also small pictures of some early digital cameras. Adding a touch of unrelated humor are side panels featuring cats with speech bubbles, musing on life or making demands like, "Please marry me," or complaining about dieting, which seem to be just quirky magazine filler. This page of Arcade Express Volume 17 showcases the new and upcoming titles hitting amusement centers, focusing on the highly anticipated fighting game, The Fallen Angels by Psikyo. Known primarily for their excellent shooting games, Psikyo is stepping into the 2D fighting arena, and based on this preview, they're bringing their unique style. The page features striking artwork of a central character with large white wings and a muscular physique, setting a dramatic tone. Several screenshots offer a glimpse of the gameplay, confirming it's a traditional 2D versus fighter with detailed sprite work. One screenshot shows a large, imposing character, while others depict standard one-on-one combat. The story section describes a post-apocalyptic setting in the year 2010, 10 years after a major earthquake, where a once great city is now isolated and known as Eden, a place consumed by violence and depravity. It seems the narrative will be a dark and gritty backdrop for the fighting actions. Psikyo plans to incorporate various systems into the Fallen Angels, which is still under development as of this preview from 1998. The article promises to delve deeper into the game's mechanics and characters, highlighting the developer's intent to make their mark on the crowded 2D fighting genre. It's clear from the presentation that Psikyo is aiming for a visually distinct and mechanics-rich fighter. This page continues the look at Psikyo's upcoming fighting game, The Fallen Angels, diving deeper into its unique game systems and introducing several key characters. The article details mechanics like switching/reverse attack, which involves quickly changing direction to perform different moves, and escape-dash/escape attack, a special movement option that can lead into attacks. It also explains the power gauge system, which seems to have multiple uses, including guard cancel, to interrupt defense, and access powerful, super special moves that become even stronger when the character is low on health. The rushing combination system utilizes simple punch and kick buttons to unleash continuous hits based on specific inputs. Several characters are introduced with striking artwork and profiles. We see the formidable Harry Galsness, the agile Yuiran, the massive Torao Onigawara, the mysterious Rushio Rochio, the imposing Haiji Mibu, and the monstrous Taro, alongside a character named Cool, and a mention of an eighth fighter. Each character is given basic details, like height, weight, age, and fighting style, suggesting a diverse roster with unique playstyles. The page reinforces that Psikyo is pouring significant effort into making the Fallen Angels a distinct entry in the fighting game genre, building anticipation for its release. This page dives into Radiant Silvergun, the first shooting game from the acclaimed developer Treasure, known for their action titles. It's a significant release because it's not only their first SHMUP, but also their first arcade game, running on the STV board before its Saturn port. The article highlights Treasure's characteristic challenging spirit evident in the game's unique system. The core gameplay is described as a precise bullet-dodging experience, where success relies on navigating subtle movements through dense enemy fire. The magazine praises the bullet patterns, stating they are fast but fair, requiring precise dodging rather than impossible reactions. The protagonist for the first player is introduced as Buster, shown alongside striking character art and screenshots depicting the intense, vertical scrolling action. While the article mentions this preview is based on the version shown just before the AOU exhibition, it notes that concrete details like the game's completion date, arcade launch, and especially the planned Saturn port are still undecided at this point. Overall, the page is clearly enthusiastic about this highly anticipated release from Treasure. This page continues the deep dive into Treasure's groundbreaking arcade shooter, Radiant Silvergun. The focus shifts to the game's mechanics and details, featuring the vibrant character art of the 2P protagonist, Rihanna, complementing the introduction of 1P's Buster on the previous page. The article highlights key features setting this title apart. It details a unique control system allowing players to instantly select from 7 attack methods using just 3 buttons, determined by combinations pressed rather than a simple switch. This system is described as well-suited for the game's intense, situation-dependent shooting action. Furthermore, the game design is characterized as a boss character rush, where stages feature a continuous stream of large boss-level enemies rather than typical fodder waves, reminiscent of Treasure's earlier title, Alien Soldier. There's no downtime between major threats. The sound design is noted as being handled by Hitoshi Sakimoto, known for his work on Tsukyu Gurentai, also known as Terra Diver, marking Treasure's first instance of utilizing external staff for music. The page confirms this is an arcade title running on the STV board, planned for operation in April, and confirms two-player simultaneous plays. This follow-up page solidifies the excitement for Treasure's ambitious entry into the shooting genre. This page delves into the world and characters of Treasure's incredible arcade shooter, Radiant Silvergun. It lays out the chilling premise. In July AC 2520, a mysterious object and flash wiped out almost all of humanity, leaving only a handful of survivors aboard a patrol vessel. The page introduces the main cast, giving us a look at the pilots and key crew members. We see the protagonist, Gambino Buster Vastarovich, the 18-year-old pilot of the Blue Machine, described as proud and independent, but struggling to show his true feelings. Alongside him is Marianne Rihanna Lenore, the 17-year-old pilot of the Red Machine, portrayed as an intuitive and somewhat chaotic force. Supporting the pilots are the older generation, Son Captain Tengai, the 69-year-old capable commander of the patrol vessel Tetra and a skilled mechanic, and Igarashi Commander Takeshi, a 50-year-old serious military man and father figure. We also meet Igarashi Gaigai, Takeshi's hot-blooded 16-year-old son, who acts impulsively, but often with good results, thanks in part to the captain. Rounding out the crew is Robinoid Creation-type product Idaho 00104, or Creator, a 5-year-old life support mech with advanced AI and surprisingly human emotions, who apparently enjoys cleaning and teasing Captain Tengai. The character designs, credited to Hiroyuki Kikuchi, are vibrant and distinctive, bringing these memorable figures to life. This page dives deep into the intricate and unique gameplay system of Treasure's groundbreaking shooter, Radiant Silvergun. It immediately highlights the core mechanics, an 8-direction lever combined with 3 dedicated shot buttons, A, B, and C. What sets this game apart is the complete absence of items or bombs, and the unforgiving rule of instant death upon colliding with terrain or obstacles. The most fascinating aspect detailed here is the weapon selection system. Instead of picking up power-ups, players instantly switch between 7 different weapon types by pressing the A, B, and C buttons individually or in various combinations. This includes familiar shot types like the straight-firing Vulcan and widespread shots, alongside unique homing weapons and a powerful close-range sword attack. The page emphasizes that this direct, button-based selection system is a key characteristic of the Silvergun vehicle. Furthermore, the game incorporates an experience point system. Destroying enemies earns experience that levels up each of the 7 weapons, enhancing their power and properties the more you use them. This encourages players to master all weapon types. The page also features a clear look at the game's protagonist craft, the Silvergun, presenting both front and rear CG renders. This page dives into the visually impressive world of Radiant Silvergun, specifically looking at the gameplay from Stage 1 through Stage 2. It highlights the game's graphical style, which uses detailed 3D polygonal bosses alongside 2D sprites and environments, praising the design and texture quality. The review notes the intense action with dynamic enemy appearances, widespread destruction, and spectacular explosions that create a chaotic yet beautiful visual spectacle. Text comments on the game's difficulty, describing it as challenging but acknowledging that the attack patterns and speed seem adjusted to be manageable. A key section replays moments from the publicly shown portion of the game, pointing out different enemy types from regular foes that might initially look like bosses to the actual large, polygonal bosses. It also touches upon the game's interface, mentioning how warnings or enemy names appear before boss encounters, helping players differentiate between standard enemies and more significant threats. The overall impression conveyed is one of dense content and intense gameplay, even in just the early stages. This page delves further into the formidable challenge of Radiant Silvergun, exploring later stages and highlighting key boss encounters and mechanics. The impressive visual style continues, showcasing distinct bosses like the first stage's final boss with its tricky bullet patterns, and the second stage boss that breaks apart into multiple sections. The page also demonstrates dynamic environmental elements such as the rotating ring terrain, where player movement must adapt to the changing landscape, a clever blend of 2D and 3D design. The game's signature bullet hell elements are prominent, with intricate and intersecting patterns described as challenging. The reviewer conveys the game's intense difficulty, noting the lack of downtime and the stress it induces. A caption for the Stage 3 boss even includes the phrase, "We love shooting game," a clear declaration of the developer's passion for the genre reflected in this demanding title. Overall, the page reinforces Radiant Silvergun's reputation as a graphically rich and mechanically complex shooter that offers a significant test of skill. This page presents an in-depth interview with the game creator, Inuchi-san, discussing the design philosophy behind the intense shooter, Radiant Silvergun. He explains that entering the industry, he always wanted to make shooting games like Gradius, but didn't get the chance until now. A key design element from the start was the unique 3-button weapon selection system, aiming for something intuitive rather than cumbersome menus. He also touches on the visual design, deciding early on to use a vertical scrolling perspective even though the game is displayed horizontally, which he felt offered the best viewpoint for the kind of gameplay they envisioned. The choice of STV hardware was partly because it handled 2Ds well and allowed for the important terrain effects. A major goal was to achieve a hit-and-away feeling, where players must navigate terrain and enemies carefully while attacking. He notes that terrain collision resulting in a miss is crucial for creating tension, contrasting it with games where terrain is just background. Regarding the power-up system, Inuchi-san deliberately avoided traditional items. Instead, he designed a system where weapons level up based on usage, allowing players to strategically improve their favorite attacks through gaining experience, emphasizing player skill and tactical choice over simply collecting items. This approach aims to create a game where players' abilities and choices are directly reflected in their progress. The next page continues the interview with Treasure's producer, Hiroshi Inuchi, about the development of Radiant Silvergun. He explains their system design involved eliminating ideas they didn't want and incorporating elements like the chain combo for efficient experience gain and skill-based power-ups. Inuchi highlights the goal of creating impactful visuals and discusses the unique worldview where humanity is nearly extinct. He notes the asymmetrical enemy designs and mentions the distinct mecha was designed by Mr. Kiku. A significant challenge was the background graphics, mostly hand-drawn in a 16-color setting using palette techniques to overcome capacity limitations, which increased the workload. He also details the enemy movement handled by the programmer Nami and the difficulty of hit detection with polygons. Inuchi deliberately instructed for slow but numerous boss bullets to encourage strategic dodging. He speaks about commissioning the music from Mr. Sakimoto, requesting an orchestral feel despite Sakimoto's usual techno style, and even specifically asking for timpani drums. The page also includes a brief bio of Inuchi, listing his past work including Gunstar Heroes and Light Crusaders. A prominent section discusses the strong anticipation for a potential SEGA Saturn port of Radiant Silvergun, highlighting its arcade STV origins, and the question everyone is asking, will it come to Saturn? This page is a big feature on Capcom, highlighted by the Hello! Volume .46 Capcom header. The main event is the kickoff of 2 campaigns celebrating the popular fighting game Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes. The first campaign is a simple postcard entry asking for your favorite characters and where you played the game, while the second is an online character popularity contest predicting the winner, with the chance to win prizes including an actual arcade board. The page shows off a vibrant illustration packed with characters from both the Marvel and Capcom universes featured in the game. The page also features new CD releases. There's a drama album based on Resident Evil's story, bridging the gap between Resident Evil 1 and 2, featuring voice actors in a photo shown here. Alongside it is the original soundtrack for the adventurous Mega Man Legends. A significant portion of the page is dedicated to reader submissions, in sections like Big Push Room and Don't Call. Fans sent in impressive illustrations and comments about their favorite Capcom games and characters. You can see artwork for characters from rival schools, Darkstalkers, and Street Fighters, showing the passion of the fanbase. Readers comment on games like Street Fighter II's Second Impact, discussing character balance and wishing for Sodom's return in a potential third impact. Finally, there's an announcement for a prize draw for regular contributors, offering a set of rival schools merchandise. This page features a report from Capcom's Osaka Development Building, focusing on their plans for the approaching AOU show. The spotlight is firmly on the fighting game star Gladiator 2, with a bold statement that the fate of the series is riding on its reception. Despite this high stakes, Capcom's presence at the show seems relatively small this year, with only one machine each for Star Gladiator 2 and Street Fighter X2 Plus. An interview with Noritaka Funamizu, a key figure in Capcom's development, reveals a slightly jaded view of the AOU show itself, noting declining excitement and smaller booths compared to previous years. Despite this, the push for Star Gladiator 2 is significant, and he directly asks readers to vote for the game, even jokingly mentioning that the voting is managed by another magazine. The page also includes Seiki Akitomo's American Comic Lecture, this time dedicated to Magneto from the X-Men. The piece delves into Magneto's character, his tragic background as a Holocaust survivor, his immense magnetic powers that make him one of the strongest mutants, and his complex relationship with Professor X, highlighting their diverging paths despite their shared mutant identity. Screenshots from Star Gladiator 2 are also featured, showing characters like Rain and Bayako. This page features a look at Capcom's exciting new arcade fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom: Clash of Superheroes, which is currently operating on the CP System 2 board. Building on Capcom's strong presence in the fighting game scene, this report introduces some of the key Capcom characters featured in the game, detailing their unique traits and moves as presented on the arcade instruction cards. Among the characters highlighted is Captain Commando, described as a versatile fighter with powerful special moves, supported by his loyal team members. Ryu is showcased for his impressive mode change ability, allowing him to switch fighting styles to emulate Ken or even Akuma, offering diverse gameplay options. Mega Man's distinct fighting style is noted, particularly his effective use of item attacks and the ability for his charged Mega Buster to increase hit count. Chun-Li is presented with her enhanced aerial game, featuring an air dash and triple jump, along with her new powerful move, the Lightning Kicks. Numerous screenshots illustrate the intense tag team battles and special attacks within the game, showing various character matchups from both the Marvel and Capcom universes. The page provides a good overview of the unique mechanics and diverse rosters that make this crossover title a standout arcade experience. The next page continues the dive into Marvel vs. Capcom: Clash of Superheroes, focusing on more key characters and introducing crucial gameplay systems. We get breakdowns of Jin Saotome, a versatile fighter with powerful hyper combos like the Saotome Cyclone; Morrigan, whose unique air dash and ground dash give her great mobility; Zangief, highlighted for his devastating screwpile driver and powerful hyper combos; and Strider Hiryu, showcasing his varied special moves and helpful options like Ouroboros. Beyond character specifics, the page details the Special Partner System, where numerous assist characters from across Capcom and Marvel history can be called upon, ranging from well-known heroes like Arthur from Ghosts, N-Goblins and Anita from Darkstalkers, to more obscure picks like Pure and Fur or Devilot. This system adds a layer of strategic depth, as different partners offer unique attacks or buffs. The variable cross system is also explained, allowing players to call in their partner for a simultaneous attack, leading to impressive combos and damage output. The page provides examples, like the double screw pile driver from Mayor Hager and Zangief, emphasizing that even unexpected characters like a plane from 1942 can participate in this chaotic tag attack. A useful tip is also given regarding air guard and landing recovery frames. This page effectively highlights the game's dynamic mechanics and expansive roster. This page is dedicated to Cyber Troopers Virtualon, featuring the column Cyber Troopers Religious Group Virtualon's Light, written by Suzuki Doitsu. It appears to be a community-focused piece, showcasing reader contributions and commentary. The column discusses various anecdotes, including unexpected appearances of game music, and emphasizes the welcoming nature of the Bako Kyodan Virtualon Religious Group for submissions like illustrations, photos, and impressions. There are several images included, such as a sharp illustration of a pharma girl from Virtualon, a wedding photo with a Happy New Year message, and a cheerful illustration wishing a Happy Spring 98. Other photos show a street scene featuring a Mini Cooper and individuals wearing VR headsets, seemingly fan attempts at embodying the Virtualon spirit. These photos are given humorous Badoo ratings, indicating how strongly they resonate with the Virtualon theme, with scores of 55% and 40%. The section is titled, Revival of Is This Virtualon?, highlighting the fan-driven nature of the content and playful interpretation of the game's universe. This page features Cyber Troopers Virtualon, specifically showcasing Dakin, Virtual-on Cybergirls Phase 4 presented by mechanical designer Akitaka Mika. A main visual highlights a Bergdor-class Virtualoid, piloted by a young girl. A key focus is the introduction of the Bergdor girl, complete with character data. She's 15 years old, stands 154 centimeters tall, with BWH measurements of 735,881, is blood type A, and a Libra. Described as a bit small and liking missile pods, she's also said to get tired easily. The page is hosting a name recruitment contest for this Bergdor girl character with head. The winning name will be officially engraved on a Virtual-on telecard, with submissions accepted until the end of February. The text includes a lively discussion among contributors like Suzuki Doitsu, Katoki Hajime, and Akita Mika, touching on various Virtual-on topics, design aspects, and humorous reflections on past magazine errors regarding military vehicles. There's also a reader submission featuring fan art, and a message addressed to Katoki Hajime. This page is a special feature on Fighting Vipers 2, highlighting the growth of existing characters and introducing new elements. The article notes the game features new systems and characters, but emphasizes the significant development of veteran fighters like Tokyo, Bon, Jane, and Piki, encouraging players to experience their enhanced techniques. The core of the page focuses on Tokyo, showcasing several of his moves and combos, with accompanying screenshots and command inputs. These include powerful special attacks, like his S.K.CO technique, which involves a charged jump kick, and various kick and punch combinations that leverage new mechanics, such as attacks while facing away from the opponent, or wall-based maneuvers. A developer provides commentary, noting Tokyo has powered up significantly since the previous game, with improved techniques and armor-breaking moves, evolving into a truly intense character. The page serves as a preview, detailing some of the offensive possibilities the game offers, particularly for Tokyo, urging players to combine these new skills creatively. This page continues the feature on Fighting Vipers 2, turning the spotlight onto two more returning fighters, Jane and Piki. Jane is presented as a powerful brawler, emphasizing her enhanced strength, formidable gauntlets, and improved grappling techniques. The article details several of her key moves and combos, including devastating punches, kicks, and throws designed to overpower opponents. A developer comments on her significant visual and technical advancements, highlighting her formidable presence and challenging Ruttegard attacks. Next up is Piki, who has grown into a faster and more complex character at 16. His moveset is expanded, with techniques carried over from Fighting Vipers, Mega Mix, and new tricky attacks. Screenshots illustrate his versatile abilities, which include rapid-fire attacks, various kicks, throws, and even airborne and board-related moves, reflecting his increased agility. The developer notes his enhanced capabilities, encouraging players to experiment with his expanded range of attacks. The page concludes with a short column from a reviewer, sharing impressions on other characters in the game. This page dives into the exciting sequel, Metal Slug 2, building upon the success of the original action shooter, which was also ported to the Sega Saturn. The article declares the sequel's grand appearance, promising greatly powered-up gameplay with refined graphics and an even more exhilarating feel. It touches upon the straightforward control scheme, outlining the basic actions like shooting, jumping, using sub-weapons, and executing the powerful Metal Slug attack. The game is packed with powerful new features, including the introduction of two new playable female soldiers, Eri and Fio, joining the established duo of Marco and Tarma. The page showcases the character select screen, confirming their presence. One interesting new mechanic highlighted is the debut player state, where characters become fat after consuming food, impacting their movement and attacks in a unique way. The article also teases the appearance of a mysterious character named Hyakutaro Ichimonji, and hints at yet another new face joining the fray, represented by a silhouette. Screenshots demonstrate the game's chaotic action, detailed environments, and the visual effect of the debut player state. This arcade title was scheduled for operation in February 1998. Metal Slug 2 promises an exciting return to action, tasking players with battling General Morden's forces. New playable characters Eri and Fio join Marco and Tarma. The article details the first three missions, showcasing diverse environments and challenging objectives. Mission 1 takes place in a Middle Eastern village, and involves destroying a vertical takeoff bomber with the aid of the SV Camel. Mission 2 sees players battling through ancient ruins against a giant drilling machine, the Ash Narrow, while also avoiding a terrifying mummy transformation. Mission 3 shifts to Europe, where the objective is to disrupt Morden's supply route via railway, utilizing the Slug Flyer, and battling the dragon Nosuke. These missions introduce new vehicles, enemies, and gameplay mechanics, including the mummy state, promising an action-packed experience. This page is the third entry in the Memories of the Game series, featuring an essay titled Dust Hunter and Pocky and Rocky 2, Tsukio Sushi. Written by Murasaki Hyakuro, a guest writer, the column discusses his unique hobby of garbage hunting, which he compares to playing a game. He describes the thrill of searching for discarded treasures under the cover of night, much like a hunting game, or even Pac-Man. He finds a variety of items in the trash, including game software. He specifically mentions picking up Star Ocean for the Super Famicom and discovering titles from the Kiki Kaikai series, Pocky and Rocky, noting how finding such things is exciting. He also finds women's magazines like Anainian and Ryuku Tsushin, and even Evangelion items from a student's trash, suggesting garbage hunting offers unexpected access to information and items one wouldn't normally encounter. The page includes a large image of mannequins in wedding attire in a shop window, and a small profile photo of the author wearing a mask. The profile details Murasaki Hyakuro's background, his contributions to various publications like Gone and Studio Voice, his books on garbage hunting, and his hobbies, which include garbage hunting and masturbation. This page features the 49th installment of a series titled Game Art's Subtle Relationship. Scrolling goes beyond time and space. It explores the concept of scrolling within video games and its artistic origins. The main illustration is a fantastical floating island structure, which is artwork from the game Hatsune Island Story, developed by Enix and released in 1997. A small card provides details for this game. Hatsune Island Story, Enix, released November 27, 1997, 6,800 yen, ARPG genre. The article, written by Dr. Fuse, discusses the spatial representation in Hatsune Island Story, noting how the game initially shows only a part of the island, but allows players to explore the entire area by scrolling the screen. He compares this to viewing a large object piece by piece. Dr. Fuse draws a fascinating parallel between game scrolling and traditional Japanese imakimono, picture scrolls. He explains how imakimono are viewed by unrolling and scrolling them by hand, revealing a narrative or scene sequentially, much like scrolling through a game world. He suggests that game scrolling, a fundamental technique in digital space, might be rooted in this ancient art form. The page includes a photo of the author, Dr. Fuse, who is described as a scholar and writer born in 1960. There is also information about his Digital Fuse Academia website, where his activities like visiting the Galapagos Islands are featured. This page features a weekly horoscope column by Mother Hakozaki, covering the week of February 13th to the 19th. Mother Hakozaki is described as a fortune teller with 20 years of experience. There's a special section highlighting the lucky person of the week, which this time is an Aquarius, born on February 14th, explicitly linked to the game Tomb Raider. A screenshot of Lara Croft is shown, and the advice given is tied to gameplay, such as being careful not to drop things, referencing items, avoiding injury by not overdoing it, health, using a guidebook to succeed, work/study, and focusing on enjoying yourself, love. The rest of the page provides horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs, divided into sections for boys and girls. Each forecast includes general advice and a specific key to good fortune, such as objects or concepts associated with improving luck for that sign during the week. Small colored squares next to each sign indicate the overall luck level, explained by a key at the bottom of the page ranging from excellent to so-so. This page features the reader-submitted Extreme Cheats section, which showcases top tips and tricks from players, offering prizes like Saturn software. This week celebrates the very first-place winner since the column began. The page then delves into Arcana Strikes, revealing how to obtain all 17 rare cards in the game. These cards are notable for featuring artwork by popular manga artists and illustrators. A comprehensive table lists the artists, card names, acquisition methods, passwords, and hints for tracking them down. Next up is information for Zap Snowboarding Tricks 98. It details how to unlock hidden versions of the game's initial 5 characters by winning the championship and selecting them with the L1 button held down. The page also reveals that using all 5 of these hidden characters unlocks the secret character, Mr. Chicken, with screenshots showing off these borders. Lastly, there's a standard call for readers to submit their own SEGA Saturn cheats for consideration in future issues. This page presents the weekly soft review section, highlighting games scheduled for release and offering impressions from various reviewers, including staff, guest writers, and even female users. It gives players a feel for upcoming titles before they hit the shelves. 2 games are under the spotlight. First up is Tenant Wars, a board game about managing shops within a building. Released on February 11th, players take on the role of an owner, strategically buying, stocking, and expanding shops to compete against rivals. The review mentions the fun of running different kinds of stores, the potential for strategy in buying out rivals, and the overall excitement of the game. The average score comes in at 6.66. The second game reviewed is Pro Yaku Team wo Tsukuru. Let's make a pro baseball team. Part of the popular Tsukuru series, releasing on February 19th. This title focuses on managing a professional baseball team. Reviewers comment on the game's depth, particularly the player trading aspect, and the unique, dry American management philosophy required for success, which involves sometimes making tough decisions about star players. The review notes it's a simulation aimed at baseball fans, and manages to capture a sense of realism in team ownership. This game earned an impressive average score of 8.66. The page also features small profiles of some of the contributors, giving a little insight into the people behind the reviews. This page continues the SEGA Saturn soft review, featuring previews of upcoming games with insights from various reviewers. First up is Sugovensha Dragon Master Silk Gaiden, a spin-off of the Dragon Master Silk series, set to release on February 19th. This title shifts gears to a board game format, incorporating elements of adventure and card-based gameplay. Female users commented positively on the variety of elements included, while the staff writer found it simple but enjoyable for casual play. Guest writers felt it needed more depth, particularly in the event sequences. It received an average score of 6.66. Next, under the new software check section, is Burning Rangers, releasing on February 26th. This is highlighted as a heroic action game, offering thrilling gameplay where you rescue people in disaster zones. The reviewer, referred to as Captain, praises the intense action, the effective voice navigation for beginners, and the impressive fire effects, recommending the full CD release for the music. Finally, the page presents this month's SATURN for February, listing budget re-releases of popular games. This selection includes titles from various genres, like Fighting with K1 Grand Prix 97, Mahjong, strategy simulations like Advanced World War, action-adventures such as Tomb Raiders, and the Virtua Cop Special Pack bundled with a light gun. This page presents a detailed look at the upcoming release schedule for SEGA Saturn titles, covering both confirmed dates and those still unannounced for March and April. It's essentially the roadmap for what Saturn owners can look forward to. Looking through the list, March is packed with a diverse range of games. We see fighting games like The King of Fighters 97, action titles like Burning Rangers, and adventure games such as Myst. There are also strategy titles, sports games including J-League Jikyo winning 1198 World Cup, and even puzzle and simulation games. Notable entries like Virtua Fighter 2, part of a collection, and various genre staples are listed, showing a strong lineup across the board. April continues the trend with more exciting releases. Fans of strategy simulations can anticipate titles like Nobunaga's Ambition, Shouseroku. Fighting game enthusiasts aren't left out either, with Vampire Savior and X-Men vs. Street Fighter appearing on the list. Racing games, role-playing games, and adventure titles also feature, indicating a continued flow of software support for the console. The schedule includes some titles marked as unannounced, hinting at further games in the pipeline. The page also provides a handy guide on how to interpret the genre abbreviations and compatibility icons listed alongside each game. Overall, it paints a promising picture for the Saturn software library in the coming months. This page continues our look at the upcoming software releases for the SEGA Saturn, stretching the schedule out from April into the summer months, and highlighting a significant number of titles still without firm release dates. It gives Saturn owners a glimpse into the console's robust pipeline. Beyond the immediate April releases like Gungriffon 2 and Idle Janshi Final Romance 4, the list expands considerably. We see major titles listed as unannounced, generating excitement for the future. Highlights include the highly anticipated Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, classic collections like Sega Ages, Phantasy Star Collection and Galaxy Force 2, and arcade ports like Pocket Fighter and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. The schedule reveals a strong showing across various genres. Role-playing games are well represented, with titles such as Mega Man 8, Dungeons & Dragons Collection, The Shining Force 2 Eyes Scenarios, and Lunar, Eternal Blue Complete. Fans of fighting games have Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle and the aforementioned Capcom fighters to look forward to. Adventure games like Resident Evil 2 and simulation titles also feature prominently among the many unannounced entries. This extensive list of games still in development or awaiting a date underscores the continued dedication to the Saturn platform. This page features a reader giveaway offering a variety of prizes related to the SEGA Saturn. The main section details how readers can enter by sending in a postcard with their survey answers, desired prize number and name, personal information, and date of birth by the deadline of February 27th. The prizes include SEGA Saturn software for 20 winners, allowing them to choose from games released by February 13th, though specific titles are subject to availability. Other prizes feature exclusive merchandise. 5 winners can receive an acrylic postcard set from the RPG Farland Saga, depicting the game's anime-style characters. 3 winners will receive a set including a desktop calendar featuring characters from Ain no Falena, Yukyu Gensokyoku, and the Ain no Kobako software. For anime fans, there's a Tenchi Muyo in-pocket virtual pet device for 3 winners, letting them raise characters from the series. Lastly, 5 winners can get a Sagata Sanshiro sticker collection, perfect for showing off their dedication to the SEGA mascot. The page also includes a brief notice about the next issue, due out on February 20th, which will feature a Klydrom demo of the upcoming Burning Ranger game. There's a list of magazine staff and contact information for reader inquiries, along with a mention of the winners from a previous issue's present campaign. This page features an advertisement for the game Tenant Wars, released simultaneously on PlayStation and Sega Saturn on February 11, 1998, with a standard price of 5,800 yen excluding tax. The ad proudly declares, "Good reviews, now on sale." The main visual features a large, friendly-looking yellow cat mascot character in front of a store background, highlighting the game's theme. The game is touted as the masterpiece of board games, encouraging players to open a store, make money, and get fun. It supports up to 6 players simultaneously, emphasizing a fun, lively experience for everyone. Players can choose their favorite character and aim to become the top tenant owner. The advertisement also showcases examples of the various types of stores players can open within the game, such as clothing stores, video rental shops, beauty clinics, and more, illustrating the business management aspect. Tenant Wars is developed and published by Kindle, Imagine Develop. This page features an advertisement for Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon, an adventure RPG for the Sega Saturn developed by Compile. The game is set in a mysterious theme park called Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Land, where the map changes each time you enter. The art shows familiar Puyo Puyo characters like Arle Naja, likely Sketsowege, and other adventurers ready for action. Players can choose from 3 main characters, which the ad highlights as providing triple the enjoyment in this easy-to-play RPG. The game is scheduled to release on March 26, 1998, with a price of 5,800 yen excluding tax. Early buyers will receive a special map bandana as a first-run bonus. The page also includes information about Compile's presence at the Tokyo Game Show 98 Spring.